Oh, I'm opening up a Pokemon card pack. I just got the Melmetal EX full art. Oh, still haven't gotten Mega Evolution though. All right, here we are, back again. How's everyone doing tonight? So, we've been, there's been some news every week. I feel like we've gotten a show out, like I've not really struggled for anything. But here we are, halfway through November, like tomorrow's the 15th. And things have picked up. I'll put it like that. Things have finally started to pick up. And basically from here until the Game Awards in December, we're busy. Movies are picking up as well. We're in the holiday movie season. Like, I don't have anything this week. Well, okay, I do have a movie, but it's one that came out like 2-3 years ago. It's the Mario movie, spoiler alert. But, like, next week you have Wicked. You have Zootopia, like, the week after. Like, things are going to start picking up, and it's gonna get quick. But for today, things have already started to hit. I definitely feel like, yeah, we're at the end of the year, we're pushing towards them, and then once we hit, like, December, everything just kind of stops. After that, like, second week of December, everything just grinds to a halt. But we're not there yet. And yeah, but luckily that's the Game of the Year season, which I was thinking about it. I have to start working towards Game of the Year, like the Game of the Year list and the whole 2025 in review, because I normally start writing that like the first week of December, and that's not too far. So that's right around the corner. I'll get to start working on that. And then yeah, we're almost there. This is episode 46, so there are, 6 episodes left in the year? That seems so close, but it's the truth. So yeah, we got some good news stories. We have a little bit of WIBE, not much, but we've got a few things. I think we'll be fine. We're playing Kirby's Epic Yarn tonight. The goal is to beat the game. I don't know how much we're going to beat the game, but the goal is to beat the game. I think we'll be fine. We got 3 worlds left, I think. I think we'll be okay. And if not, maybe we'll do some, like, bonus levels or something. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Xseed Games announces that Corpse Party Tetralogy Pack West physical release is cancelled, as well as the digital unreleased game featured in the pack, due to contents of several games in the pack not complying with current platform guidelines. Okay. Interesting. Alright, let's boot up Kirby's Epic Yarn. I've already got the game open. It's been like almost a month, so I kind of booted up and run around to kind of see where we are, what we were doing. So I guess let's just jump right back into it. Alright, here we are. We're heading over to Snowland, and that's our next area. I do like Snowland. I love them. This game, the music is my holiday vibe. Like, I used to listen to, like, a holiday playlist on YouTube. That's definitely been deleted by this point due to Nintendo copyright lawyer bullshit. But I used to listen to a holiday playlist, and the track it opened with was this one from Kirby's Epic Yarn. So I will always relate this with the holidays. Even though I am canceling Christmas this year. Yep, I personally canceled Christmas. It's a whole thing. Oh, I didn't put that. So we do have a soda thing to talk about later. But I also tried Coca-Cola Holiday Creamy Vanilla. I guess we'll talk about it when we talk about the other soda thing. But I forgot to put that on the chart. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, so for gaming news tonight, we have 4 stories. But they're all pretty big stories. You know, they're all stuff we want to go into detail with. We got, one of them is gaming. It's technically a movie, but it's gaming related. It's the Mario movie. We got the first trailer for the Mario movie, for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So of course we got to talk about that. I did do a trailer reaction that you can go find on the YouTube side, but I didn't stream that live. So you have that. We have Valve. Valve announced 3 new pieces of hardware. And of course I want to talk about it. We have Pokopia, that Pokemon Dragon Quest Builders Minecraft Animal Crossing game. We got a big like trail revealer. It was like there were 2 trailers. There was like a short one, and then there was an extended trailer that was like 10 minutes long. So we're obviously going to talk about that. And finally, Jeff Keighley announced today that the Game Award nominees will be revealed on Friday. Or on Monday, I mean. Today is Friday. So they'll be revealed on Monday the 17th. So we might as well make some predictions. The big one I have multiple ideas about, all of which I think are wrong. But I've got predictions for all the other ones. So we'll see what we can do. I'm not going to, we'll do our actual, like, nominee guesses, like, the week before. But for actual, like, predictions of what's getting nominated, we might as well. Like, again, do the Game Awards matter? No. Am I trying to make my own fun out of it? Absolutely. Plus, I will not be watching the Game Awards this year. Because normally, I don't watch the Game Awards. Because they're the same night as a yearly Christmas pageant I go to. And even though I know I joke Christmas is canceled this year, I'm still going to do it. It's charity, man. Like, come on. So, I'm going to do that. Like, last year, it was the week before the Game Awards. But most years, it's the same night as the Game Awards. Or maybe the Game Awards maybe it was the week after. I don't know. Usually the Game Awards and the Christmas pageant are the same day. But last year they weren't. But this year they are. And like the 2 years prior to that. Honestly, up until like, even like during like 2020, like near the latter half of 2020, 2021, like when the Xbox Series X got revealed, I was at the Christmas pageant. It happens. Alright, let's start off with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So, we had now, they had revealed recently that, hey, we know the Super Mario Galaxy movie is coming. Many months ago, there was actually a leak from Old Spice deodorant that revealed the name, and that the Skull People from Tostarena, whose name, I remember the name of the village. The town is called Tostarena. But what the actual villagers are called in Tostarena, the Day of the Dead people, I do not remember. Tostarena. is inhabited. It's in the Sand Kingdom, and it's inhabited by Toasterinians? Are they? Yeah, they're just called Toasterinians. Okay, I figured they had like a proper like an enemy name, but no, it's like the same as like a New Yorker or something like that. An Idahoan? Yeah, I guess that's a better comparison. So we knew from that trailer that they were going to, or we knew from that leak, even if we didn't believe that leak at the time, yeah, it turns out that leak was completely correct. So I want to go over just some things I want to point out in the trailer. You know, you can go watch my live reaction. I did it on Wednesday. Or, well, my first reaction, not my live. It wasn't live. I didn't stream it. But we started off with, hey, we're picking up where the first movie left off. There's definitely been at least a little bit of a time skip. Bowser is still tiny, but he's no longer in a bird cage. Instead, he's in a castle playset. Like, they turned Bowser's castle into like a Barbie playset. And so he's in that. He's painting his feelings, for lack of a better term. And you see him, you've got all these different artworks. You have his Super Mario Bros. 3 sprite in the clown car. You have the Amazy Daisies from Yoshi's Island. Are they actually called... Amazy's Daisies is definitely a Mario enemy. But I can't remember if it's a Yoshi enemy or a Paper Mario enemy. I can't remember. They both have Daisy enemies. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's actually... the Amazy Daisy is the Paper Mario enemy. But there's a lot of cute little references like that. I love stuff like that. Bowser, you know, him and Mario still don't get along. Like, he's showing off his painting. And Luigi's like, oh yeah, I like the colors. And Mario's like, it looks like trash. And so, you know, he threatens Mario. But I like that he's getting along with Luigi. I think that's cute. I think the painting is just funny. You know, it reminds me of like one of those like dime store novels that you'd see that are kind of more popular than ever right now, thanks to Book Talk. It reminds me of one of those. Oh god, it reminds me of The Sexy Pirate. Shit. Oh, go watch Pluribus on Apple TV. It is worth, as someone who does not own an iPhone, it is worth getting Apple TV. Just for that, Severance, and a few other things. Trust me, it is so worth it. I've not seen the most recent episode. I've only seen the first 2, but they were so good. But yeah, we get that. Bowser says, you know, he goes off on Mario, and then he apologizes, and is like, I'm working through my demons. This does make me think, are we going to get a Bowser redemption arc? If not a Bowser redemption arc, then like, are they going to become more friendly towards each other? Because that's the thing. One of my biggest video game hot takes is that I'm kind of over Bowser as a villain. Like, yeah, I know certain video games have used the same villain over and over again. Mario, Sonic, Zelda. It's the same villain for most games. But with, like... Ganondorf actually doesn't show up as much as you'd think. Like, he's still in most of the games, but he's not in every one. Sonic has its cavalcade of supporting cast. But Mario, outside of, like, in the mainline games, in the 18-ish mainline Mario games, Mario has had, like, 4 villains. There's Bowser, Tatonga, Wario, Wart, and I guess Bowser Jr., so I guess that makes 5. That's kind of it. Like, yeah, there's some mini-bosses and whatnot. You know, Petey Piranha is a pretty big mini-boss. But he's not the villain. Bowser Jr. is. And then Bowser Jr. gets upstaged by his dad at the end. Same thing with the Galaxy games. He kind of gets upstaged by his dad. And I expect the same thing here. You know, like, they say in, like, these talks that it's like, oh, Bowser Jr. is going to be the main antagonist of the movie. And, like, yeah, I'm sure for most of it he will be. But by the end, it's gonna be... Bowser's gonna be the main villain. But I'm kind of like, yeah, I'd be fine seeing Bowser move on to more of, like, a role he has in the Paper Mario games. where, yeah, he can still be an enemy, but he can also be an ally. Like in Origami King, he's an ally. He helps you fight the final boss. I know he shows up a few times in Thousand Year Door, and you fight him. I'm honestly fine with them moving Bowser to a King Dedede role. Because that was, like, King Dedede's first appearance, he's a villain. But in every game after that, no, he's not the villain. Like, yes, you still fight him in every game, because King Dedede gets mind-controlled more than Supergirl does. But, like, outside of that, no, King Dedede, like, the newest Kirby game, Forgotten Lands, is the perfect example. Like, yes, you fight him because he is mind-controlled. But after that, he takes his final stand, where he would rather die an honorable king, sacrificing himself to save one soldier. Like, it's a great moment. Like, genuinely, Forgotten Lands is an amazing game. And I wouldn't mind Bowser taking up that sort of role, and, you know, him getting a redemption arc in the movie, and now they're go-karting together, they're biking together, doing all that jazz. And sure, he still, you know, gets mind-controlled and does the villainous stuff. Like, yeah, I'm fine with that still happening. But I'm down for moving on Bowser into something else. And definitely in the video games. Like, I 100% want this in the video games. Like, in the same way that I'm fine if Peach is never a damsel in distress again, I'm fine if Bowser is never the main antagonist again. He can be a secondary one, but he doesn't need to be the main one. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens to that. I expect total bait and switch, obviously. Like, duh. Because they're not gonna make... Because, like, Peach is not gonna be a damsel in distress in this movie. Like, she's probably gonna get kidnapped at some point, potentially, probably by ninjas, maybe. But I don't think it's gonna be that. You know, she's not, like, the actual game. So next up, we see a scene with them looking at the shooting stars. I think it was Shea Frillis's video where he was like, this movie doesn't look that good. I actually completely disagree. I think this whole scene with the shooting stars, I actually think that's kind of beautiful. That may just be me, but I actually like how that scene looks. And I think it's really just that one scene. Like, the later ninja scene feels kind of crowded. But this scene with the shooting stars, and like we see it on the poster, that actually looks really nice in my opinion. What can I say? We see them going, Toad and Peach go off to space in a warp star. There's a whole kind of funny pizza bet about were they going to get through space through shooting, like one of the sling stars, or were they going to get to space through a rocket ship? Yeah, at least for these two, Peach and Toad, which does clearly show that they're going to be splitting up. That Mario and Luigi are probably on one quest, Peach and Toad are on a different quest. Wherever that leads them, obviously they're going to get attacked by ninjas, and we'll see what goes from there. We see Mario and Luigi biking through the desert. We see the inverted pyramid. Like I said in the Old Spice leak, we've seen what the Toastarinans look like. There's also a Pillsbury cookie leak that showed what Yoshi looks like. Not in this trailer, but we know they're in the movie. Like, that was the tease at the end of the last one. Obviously, they're in the movie. But we see Mario and Luigi biking through the desert. I have thoughts about this scene. I'll talk about it in a second. But I do have some thoughts. We also got a new poster that shows Mario and Luigi in their desert outfits. I think we actually do see the Toastarinans in this one. So actually, maybe they have been officially revealed. But yeah, we did get a new poster today, like 2 days later. Why just randomly we got a poster? No idea. Because we did also get the boat poster, like a poster of like them on like a boat and they're looking up at the shooting stars. Like the lanterns. Yeah, no, it's a fine poster. We then see like this neon green and pink like rave area. Maybe it's Electrodrome? Like, you know, they've done carts, they did cart stuff in the first movie. Maybe they're going to the Electrodrome. But Peach and Toad are attacked by ninjas. I like that the way the ninjas move is like shooting, like they move like ninja stars. Like as they fly through the air, they tumble like a 5-pointed star. That's kind of cute. I like that. And then they're standing on the roulette wheel from Super Mario Sunshine. Why? I don't know, but they are. I think that's just, these movies are filled with like neat little references like that. So I bet that's what this is. It's just like, oh, hey, you know, we're making this like rave casino area. Let's just put this in here because people will get that reference. Yeah, it's neat. After that, we get a scene of Bowser Jr. He's showing up to rescue his father. He's got the paintbrush from Sunshine, but it's specifically the design from 3D World? The Bowser's Fury, you know, the bonus mode in the Switch version, where instead of having EGAD's logo on it, it has Bowser Jr.'s face. Yeah, clearly Nintendo disconnected the Luigi's Mansion games in the Mario mainline universe some point in the past 20 years. Some point between Sunshine and wherever we are nowadays. Because, like, EGAD was also in Superstar Saga. Before that, basically, became treated as its own continuity. But yeah, I think the paintbrush is fine. It's interesting that they're not doing a Shadow Mario thing, potentially, where, like, Shadow Mario sneaks in and kidnaps Bowser. Nope, they're using the design from Super Mario Wonder. Now, to be fair, I like the design from Super Mario Wonder, where he turns blue. I like that he's got the bandana, but, like, the mouth moves, and it sounds, you know, it's got, like, that reverb behind it. Because a lot of people, when they first heard it, were like, oh, is that just Bowser? Is that just Jack Black doing a voice? Like, you know how, like, Eggman was like, oh, yeah, we're doing Gerald, the old man, but it's just gonna be, not Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey. I don't know why I said Will Ferrell. It's just gonna be Jim Carrey voicing both Eggmans. I could have totally seen a universe where Bowser and Bowser Jr. were just both Jack Black, and they were just putting a voice filter on Jack Black to make him sound younger. We'll get to the casting here in a minute. But yeah, I think it looks good. He turns the paintbrush into like a wrecking ball. He's there to save his dad. This is definitely early on in the movie. I honestly think all of these scenes are early on in the movie. We'll talk about it. I've been saying that a lot. We'll talk about it. After that, we then get the title card, and then we get to see Rosalina. Very good, very faithful design. She's coming out of a castle. I don't think that's Peach's castle. That's clearly, I don't know what castle that is, because you can see the Comet Observatory in the background. And then afterwards, it's the Mega, presumably Bowser Jr. is inside the Mega Leg. He comes up, she then uses her powers to destroy it. And if you notice, her powers are some of her powers from Smash Bros. Like her dash, like when she dashes forwards under the thing, that's just her dash from Smash Bros. I like details like that, you know, they did in the first movie as well with like Donkey Kong. So I like little details like that. Like, that's always neat to do. And yeah, it's a teaser trailer. It's like a minute or two long. It's not very long at all. It doesn't show, you know, we know Yoshi's in the movie. It doesn't show Yoshi. And honestly, I don't want them to show everything. Someone made the point on Twitter of like, the internet gets mad at the first trailer for not showing enough. And then in a few months, the internet will get mad at the second trailer for showing too much. And yeah, I completely agree. That's exactly how it works. The internet gets mad in one direction, they get mad in the other direction. Of course, that's how it works. But no, I'm fine with everything we've seen. I don't think it's too much at all. After that, so they released the trailer on its own, but then there was also a direct, like, that was like only 7 minutes long. They revealed the casting, and the casting for Rosalina is Brie Larson. Now, I know there were a lot of fan picks. A lot of people wanted an older actress. Like, I know Elle Fanning was like one of the big cast picks. There was another big one as well that I don't remember. But I think Brie Larson is the perfect casting for Rosalina. Because she's a fan. She cares about the material more than anybody else. People have pulled up a story from like 2020 of her talking about her first boyfriend, who she kicked out because the boyfriend was complaining that she was playing too much Galaxy. Like, yes, she cares a lot about the source material. I'd argue she probably cares more than Jack Black. And Jack Black is the other person on this project who cares a lot. Like, I don't even know if Chris Pratt has ever played a Mario game. I could maybe believe that Anya Taylor-Joy and Charlie Day have. But Jack Black, for the most part, is the only one who's like, oh yeah, no, Jack Black genuinely cares. And he will do this movie until the day he dies, if they will let him keep being Bowser. Like, this isn't like Jim Carrey being Eggman, where it's just a fun role that he likes doing. And that's why he came out of retirement. No, Jack Black will, if he can have his way, he will do this till the day he dies, because he loves it. And I believe the same thing with Brie Larson. Like, if she can keep being in these movies, you know she would love to keep doing it. Because she cares. Someone over on Twitter made the comparison of Brie Larson... Someone over on Twitter made the comparison that Brie Larson being casted in the Mario movie is the equivalent of Ariana Grande being cast in the Wicked movie, or Henry Cavill being cast as The Witcher. These are people who care a lot about the source material, will pay it the respect it deserves, and I think they will do a great job. So I think Brie Larson is a perfect casting for this role. She released a video on Instagram of her back in May, where she was visiting the new Epic Universe, and while she was there, she knew that she was going to be Rosalina. And so she's like going like to the side and being like, hey, just between me and you, I'm Rosalina in the new movie. I'm so excited. I'm wearing a blue shirt to match her color. Didn't want to go full cosplay. And it's so charming. It's perfect casting. I know people wanted something different. I think this is great. People are totally underselling this. I'm already out of water, and we're like 20 minutes in. The other casting is Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. Now, when I was watching the trailer, I didn't originally recognize this guy because of the picture they used. Benny Safdie is the Safdie brothers. They did Uncut Gems. If you ever watched the Adam Sandler movie Uncut Gems, they did that. Benny Safdie was the villain in Happy Gilmore 2. He was also one of the scientists in Oppenheimer. That's where I know him from. Like, the moment I Googled him and saw his picture, hey, speaking of King Dedede, there he is. You gotta fight King Dedede in every game, even if he's not the main villain anymore, and hasn't been for like 30 years. But yeah, no, Benny Safdie is... I definitely recognize him from Oppenheimer. I think he's one of the more recognizable... I think out of all the scientists, I think he's probably got one of the more major roles in the movie. Like, he isn't like Rami Malek, who's got like 5 lines. No, I want to say he's the one who makes the bet on if the bomb will blow up the universe, or the world, or whatever. Like, I want to say he's the one who does that. He's got a pretty major role in that movie. It's just, I don't think it's bad casting. I think it's just weird casting. Like, out of all the people to do it, like, I've seen a lot of, like, fan casting of, like, oh, well, I expected it to, you know, be someone younger. Or, again, just Jack Black again. It's not bad casting, it's just weird. Like, out of all the people to do it, why him? Maybe he's a big fan of Mario. Maybe he actually, like, really cares. And we just don't know it, because I just don't know much about the dude. Maybe that's why. I was thinking about it. You know who would have been... Rest in peace. But he would have been perfect casting. Back in... If this movie was... You know, if he was still alive, or if this movie had been made a few years ago, Cameron Boyce would have been a perfect Bowser Jr. Because with the whole... You know, Benny Safdie, Uncut Gems, Happy Gilmore 2, my first thought is, I'm going to predict right now, Adam Sandler is going to be in the Mario movie. I don't know what he's going to be. My guess... Waluigi. I think he'd do a decent Waluigi. But I'm going to call it right now, Adam Sandler is going to be in this movie. Because people forget, Adam Sandler's actually a decent actor. like, as long as it's not one of his movies, Adam Sandler is actually pretty good. He's fantastic in the Hotel Transylvania movies. At least the first one. He's okay in the second one. I'm not going to defend anything past that. But I think Adam Sandler would be perfect in these movies. My guess is Waluigi, just, you know, as a lanky guy. But he could be anything. I'd be totally down for that. So that's my prediction. Maybe that's how they got him. They hired Adam Sandler to be Waluigi or something. You know, him and Danny DeVito, who's Wario. And then he was like, oh yeah, well, we're looking for Bowser Jr. as well. Hey, why not this? And he was like, why not this guy? And yeah, they just went with it. I don't think that's out of the question. Yeah, so there's my prediction. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't think it's bad. It's just weird. But to be fair, it's the Mario movie. All the casting is weird. Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Fred Armisen. Like, the only ones I think are actually like, yeah, that makes sense, is Charlie Day and Jack Black. Also, I actually can totally see Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Like, he doesn't do a voice, it's just the Seth Rogen voice, but I'm actually perfectly fine with it. Maybe I'm just... The more I see Seth Rogen, the more I'm just like, yeah, I'm used to it. You know, he's Alan. God, that's coming back as well. So, yeah, that's the Mario movie trailer. It looks good. I do have literally all my concerns from the first movie are still here. Like, are they going to address some of the problems? Or is this just going to be another safe, by-the-book movie? You know, another hero's journey? Or an Odyssey that, you know, they're going on a quest? Because we'll talk about the Mario movie later. But the Mario movie is very basic. It's literally the hero's journey, beat for beat. Which, to be fair, it's Mario. Mario is the most basic plot in the world. Hero saves princess from dragon. But I want a little more from Galaxy. Like, what makes Galaxy special is that it's the one Mario game with, like, an actual story. Like, it's got an actual character we give a shit about, that being Rosalina. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see more. But there's still that hesitation. I'm not as worried as other people are. Like, even if it's just, like, a little better than the Mario movie, I'm fine with that because I enjoy the Mario movie. But I do want it to be more. You know, like, if it's the same level, okay. But I know they can do better. I know they can. Especially if you're doing Galaxy second. I still stand by it should have been World. It should go Mario movie, Super Mario World, Super Mario Galaxy. They should do it like that. Galaxy should have been the third one. But I'm not beat up over it. I mean, it's still Galaxy at the end of the day. I can't believe I already went through that whole thing. Oh, shit. Maybe after this world, we'll go and get some more. Because I think Space is World 7? Yeah, I think Space is World 7. Alright, let's talk about our next story. So, Valve, randomly this week, for no reason, potentially, revealed some new hardware. So Valve already has the Steam Deck, which has sold a few million units. It's by Valve's own metrics, they say it's a successful system. Everyone who I know has a Steam Deck likes their Steam Deck. I don't have one, but I know people who do that really like it. So this week they sat down and they put out a trailer and did some like demos and whatnot with people and revealed 3 new products. A controller, not a console, a machine, you know? It's a console for lack of a better term. It's a not a PC console hybrid, but it's more akin to a console than, you know, some of the stuff they've done in the past. And finally, a VR headset. So let's talk about let's just go in that order. First up is the Steam controller. If you remember the old Steam controller, it was awful. It's funny, there was a point in time where Valve was giving them away for like $5, And even at $5, I couldn't convince myself to buy one. I had one of those Steam links. They did a whole Steam link that could like let you stream games to your TV. I had one of those. Actually, it worked fine. It was just streamed games from your PC to your TV. Yeah, I never really had any issues with it. But I just used an Xbox controller. Because while I never had a Steam controller, I knew people who did. And it was just bad. It didn't have joysticks. Instead, it had like these 2 trackpads that, they were trying to replicate like the idea of a mouse. And it just wasn't good. I don't know why they did it that way, but they did. And so we got this new controller. It's in the style of like the DualShock and the DualSense, where the buttons in the D-pad are on top, and then the 2 joysticks are on the bottom. Which, to be fair, that's not the way I like. I much prefer the Nintendo Xbox style, where the buttons in the D-stick are flipped. I think that's the better style of controller. I don't hate the DualSense at all. I think it's a fine controller, but I like the other controllers better. But the big thing is this controller feels very chunky. I don't know how it is to hold. I haven't held one. The only report I actually read on these things was on the Steam machine. I saw a video on the VR headset, but I didn't actually watch it. So I don't know, maybe this controller feels fine, but it looks very big, it looks very chunky. It reminds me a lot of like the WIBE or the Duke. So maybe it feels fine. Maybe it's a fine feeling controller, but I don't think it actually looks that good. Like visually, I think it's got a lot going on, because the big thing that makes it look chunky is that underneath the 2 thumbsticks, there are 2 trackpads that you can basically use as a mouse. And now I know the Steam Deck has those 2 trackpads, and I was probably Blessing talk about it. And he mentioned that no, like if you play like Inscription with the trackpads, they actually work pretty well. The trackpads are not as like, there's a learning curve obviously, but once you get past that learning curve, the trackpads are actually great. I don't know, admittedly I've never used the Steam Deck, so I couldn't actually tell you. But that's what they're doing, and that's what makes the controller just look so chunky. They talked about how because of this layout, because it's got the trackpads that can be used as mice, it will support every game on Steam. Even games that aren't designed with controller in mind, you should still be able to use this controller because the trackpads function as mice. There's all the standard face buttons, plus on the back there are four more remappable buttons. So it's got a lot there. So while I doubt you will be able to play everything, I'm sure there is a lot that is accessible just off the rip. But no, I do like that I'd hope that they're gonna make a thing, kind of like how they have Steam Deck verified, and then they announced during this that they're gonna have Steam Machine verified. I hope they also do controller verified. I think they're also doing Steam Frame verified, but do a controller verified as well. All user based of like, hey, yeah, from Steam Deck users, does this game work good with a controller? I think they might have something I want to say, because for PC gaming currently, I use an 8BitDo Ultimate controller, and that works fine. And I want to say Steam has a thing about how oh yeah, this game is designed with controller in mind. This game can be played with a controller. I want to say there might already be something, but having an official verification would be nice. Let's see, what else is there? There's grip-enabled gyros, so it sounds like there's a sort of gyro control, but it also uses your hand grip into account. Okay, that's good. Magnetic thumbsticks. Are these that Hall effect? Hall effect is the magnets, right? So, they're going for some more precise movement. They talked about how, it's going to have capacitive touch sensors. So that way the sticks are more precise, as well as the gyroscope. They want the gyroscope to be more precise as well. And that's definitely the right way to do things. Because, well, I don't hate having... I don't think having to recalibrate the Switch gyroscope is as bad as people make it out to be. It definitely could be better. There's HD Rumble. Speaking of Switch, they're putting HD Rumble in this thing, which, yeah, just makes sense. The capacitive touch, battery life. This is the big one. Like, Valve knows what they're talking, like, what people care about. That while we didn't get the price, we got everything else. The battery life, 33 hours. More than a full day of gaming. That's great. That is fantastic. Because that's my biggest problem with PlayStation, is that the DualSense has a fucking awful battery life. Like, somehow the Switch Pro controller is like 24 hours. Like, I've gone week without charging it. And just like, you know, when I was doing like Silksong and whatnot. I've gone long periods of time without charging my Pro controller on the Switch in Switch 2. Whereas with like a PS5, I do one session and it's like, oh, I already got to recharge the thing. I don't know where PlayStation's fucking up. And of course, Xbox still uses batteries. But no, definitely having a long battery life is super important. And PlayStation's just bad at it, I guess. That's what it comes down to. For charging the controller, they have a thing called the Puck. The Puck reminds me of, if you have an Apple, I think it might exist on Android as well, certain phones. But Apple has a thing called MagSafe, where it's just a charger that you can slip on the back of your phone and it'll charge it. And yeah, they're doing that here. So it's a Puck. It's a little thing that you slip on the back of the controller. It hooks up with magnets and then it just charges it and you can easily pop it off and get right into play. And my 8BitDo has something, it's got like a charging cradle and it's got like the little thing inside the cradle. So I just pop the controller off and it works fine, right? It automatically hooks up to the PC. So I'm assuming it'll be something similar, and that's nice. That's good, convenient. Glad they're thinking ahead. Of course, you know, it is a Bluetooth controller, but it can also be used wired. I know some people really care about those like delays, and yeah, if you want to use it wired, you totally can. It works with Steam, SteamOS, Steam Link, work with all the Steam stuff, but of course you can also use it PC, Mac. You can use it for handheld gaming with the Steam Deck. You can use it on a smartphone. And you can use it on the Steam Machine. So what is the Steam Machine? So the first joke I saw about the Steam Machine was someone calling it the Gabe Cube. Because it's this small little black cube device that, yeah, it's a GameCube, but without the handle. But you know, hardware modding is like a big thing. And like, one of the companies has already revealed that they're going to be doing a companion cube mod. Like, you can buy like a companion cube case for this thing. Someone's going to make a GameCube. Someone's going to have like a thing where you can 3D print a shell for the Steam Machine that is a GameCube. It's got the handle and everything. And that's going to be huge. I think that's a fantastic idea. I think the Gabe Cube is a funny name, but it's just called the Steam Machine. So the last Steam Machine was it was a partnership with Alienware. I never used the Steam Machine. I don't know how people felt about it, but based on the fact that people are a lot more excited for this one, I think is a good sign. Because the last one, I didn't really hear anybody talk about. Like, at all. To be fair, it was unlike, you know, the Steam controller, where it was, oh yeah, people are talking about this, just in a negative way. I mean, that's better than, you know, or I guess this is saying that nobody said anything about the Steam Machine is better, I guess? So Valve said that this Steam Machine is 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. So you know how, like, the Wii was just 2 GameCubes taped together? This is 6 Steam Decks taped together. At least that's the pseudo joke they make. And yeah, having that big of an upgrade is good. That's an important thing. It is small. They say it's a small, it's quiet. Because yeah, it looks like you can fit, like, it's GameCube size. Like, people aren't just calling, right, the GameCube is a joke. But it is also the same size as a GameCube. It's got a custom AMD GPU. It's supposedly able to do 4K, 60 FPS. Allegedly, probably, the HDMI port on the back is HDMI 2.0 and not 2.1. So it probably won't be able to do 120 frames per second. But I think that's fine. I know, oh, well, even the Switch 2 can do 120 frames per second. And fair enough, it does also have a display port. Admittedly, don't know what those can do off the top of my head. But I think 4K 60 FPS, depending on the price, this isn't bad at all. It has 1080p upscaling, so, you know, even games that aren't in HD, they'll use this upscaling to make them look better. I know some people don't, that's another compromise that, like, the Switch and whatnot make, but I think that's fine. More and more consoles are doing it nowadays. Not saying that as an excuse, just more of, like, as an explanation. It uses a SteamOS, a version of SteamOS that is It uses a version of SteamOS that is specifically designed for, like, home TVs, which is definitely the right way to go about things. Of course, it is also moddable. Like, SteamOS, I want to say, is a type of Linux, so I'm sure people will figure out ways to put, like, other systems onto this thing. But for the moment, we just know, yeah, it's going to use SteamOS. It is going to work with, though, other PC, like, software and accessories. So, like, presumably, you know, you'd be able to use an Xbox controller on this thing. You'd be able to use your own custom mouse and keyboard. It's flexible, because, you know, it's still a PC at the end of the day. Like, this is, if we think of it as, like, a spectrum, this is more PC than it is console. But it's not console. I think that's important to say. A big thing they talked about is there's a desktop mode, like I said. Their goal is, like, having a fast wake up and sleep time. So that way, you know, you could easily put... Game. Okay, we're alive somehow. Oh, but we did get hit. Shit. You still have audio? Okay, we do. Barely. So it has, you know, a fast sleep, a fast wake. I want to say, is that Xbox or PlayStation that prides themselves in having this right now? I want to say it's Xbox that has, like, their big quick resume thing that they're, like, very proud of, that you can do on multiple games. But yeah, they're going in on that. There's an SD card slot at the front of this thing, so that way if you want to expand it, you can get more storage, which, yeah, I think SD cards, it'll probably go up to 2 terabytes. Do they make 2 terabyte SD cards? They might. I know they definitely make 1 terabyte. I actually don't think they make 2 terabyte yet. Soon. There's an LED strip on the front, so, you know, like PlayStation has its 2 LED strips. There's an LED strip on the front of the Steam machine, but they talk about how it's customizable. So that way, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. Kind of like how you can change the Steam Deck's boot up screen. You can presumably do something similar here. You know, you'll be able to, people will customize this light. I saw one video where someone had, like, a custom, like, display, where it was, like, a little, like, image on the front of the thing that actually, like, changed. Don't know anything about that, but I saw a video on Twitter with it. Yeah, because, yeah, you can change the faceplate. Like I mentioned, there's going to be a companion cube one. I saw one that was, like, orange box themed. That might have just been a fan mock-up thing, but it makes sense. But yeah, having that little bit of customization is always nice. I'm thinking of the 3DS, the new Nintendo 3DS Lite where you could take off the face and back plates. And of course, while this thing can play most games, it can also stream games as well. So like if if you're one of those people who want to stream stuff, it'll also be able to do that. Hopefully this thing will be powerful enough to play most games. I know the Steam Deck's pretty decent at it. And this is supposed to be 6 Steam Decks, so I'd be hopeful. And then when it comes to specs and performance, according to some of these write-ups, I'm looking at the IGN one specifically, is they're trying to hit on par with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. It'll probably end up being a little bit below that, but they're aiming for around the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which is definitely the right place you want to go with it. Speaking of IGN, just some of the things in their article is they pointed out that of the people who own a Steam Deck, of the like 4 or 5 million that do, 20% of those people of the Steam Deck owners use the Steam Deck connected to the TV. So basically they use it like a Switch. They have a dock, they put it in the dock and connect it to the TV like you would with a Switch. And I know 20% isn't a crazy number, but that's a lot higher than I would have guessed. If you had asked me to guess this earlier, I would have not gotten 20. I don't even know if I would have said 10. That is a lot higher than I expected. They talked about how Steam Deck has limited performance on PC, so this is kind of trying to cut the middleman. The way I think about this, the Steam machine, is I remember when the Switch Lite was announced, and it was like, oh, this is a Nintendo Switch that can't hook up to the TV. Some people made the joke that maybe they should do like a Switch Pro that's just console only. It doesn't have handheld accessibility. It's just a console-only system that is, more powerful. It's in 4K. Maybe it's also a little cheaper. And, it was just another type of Switch. That's kind of what this feels like in some ways. Where it's like, okay, this is a Steam Deck, but it can't be handheld. It's console only. And I think some people are actually going to be fine with that. Myself, I've never bought a Steam Deck because I don't play that many games on the go. I have taken my Switch 2 out of its dock 3 times. I'm mostly a console gamer. So, having a Switch that's console only, I would probably use. Having a Steam machine, I would actually probably use. It just needs like a handle or something, so that way in case I do want to take it on the go, I have a handle I could easily grab. Oh god, I'm so tired. I am so tired. If only some gaming company back in the early 2000s would have thought of a way to make their console that was cube-shaped portable. I guess we'll never know. Let's see. IGN's described it, and which I think is the right way to think about this, is this isn't a console, this isn't a PC. This isn't something for hardware enthusiasts. If you're one of those people who cares about having the best 8K 120 frames per second, this is not for you. This is not for your DIY hardware enthusiast. This is for someone who, wants to know more about PC gaming, wants to play some PC gaming, but doesn't want to, build a PC. This is a living room gaming PC, or a PC for console gamers, as IGN puts it. And that's the way I'm kind of thinking about it as well. So, because I was listening to Kinda Funny talk about this, and they talked about how, people get into their ecosystems. If you had, a Nintendo, an Xbox, a PlayStation, you use that system. And then when the next generation comes around, you keep using that system because that's where all your games are on. That's what all your achievements are tied to. Me and my brothers had an Xbox 360 back in the day. And then when it came to the next generation, I started using a Wii U. they continued to use Xbox and got an Xbox One. And now, you know, I'm in the Nintendo ecosystem. They're in the Xbox ecosystem. And so when the new Xbox came out, they obviously bought an Xbox Series X. And then one of my brothers bought a PS5 and then sold it because he just didn't use it as much as his Xbox because all of his games were on Xbox. All of his friends he met playing Xbox were in the Xbox ecosystem. So obviously that's what he used. And yeah, no, that's completely right. It's the same thing with smartphones. Like, I got into the Android ecosystem through Samsung phones. And when I'm thinking about, like, oh, you know, because I have one of those, like, flip foldable phones, the Flip, like, 5 or something like that. I don't actually like it that much. But and it's like, for the next phone, oh, do I consider getting one of those, like, Google Pixels? And it's like, no, well, I don't want to do that because, you know, my watch, I have a smartwatch, that's a Samsung. The headphones I use are Samsung, Galaxy Buds 2 or whatever. Like, yeah, I know because it's Android, those things will work on a Google Pixel, but I'm kind of already in the Samsung ecosystem. And, like, I'd never do iPhone. Like, iPhone, like, have you seen that fucking sock thing they're trying to sell people? Like, it's a cult. It is for sure a cult of products that the company intentionally makes worse and builds in some of the worst, like, everything has planned obsolescence, but Apple is by far the biggest offender. But no, for me, you know, I'm in Nintendo's ecosystem, but if I want to play something that's not Nintendo, I go to PlayStation. PlayStation is my second, then it'd probably be PC, then it'd be Xbox last. That's just kind of how it goes. PlayStation is, you know, all my non-Switch games are on PlayStation. And my Steam library, you know, I have a few things on the Steam library. Like, I'm playing Peak on Steam. But I could see myself being convinced, like, oh yeah, even though I like PlayStation first-party games, you know, most of those get published on PC within like a year. Maybe I just become a PC guy. Maybe the Steam machine is my entry into PC gaming. That's totally possible. God, I wish I had more water. Yeah, after we beat Meta Knight, because we're obviously gonna fight Meta Knight. Like, I haven't played this game in like a decade. We're gonna fight Meta Knight. Like, that's clearly what it's building up towards. I'm gonna go get some water. Oh my gosh, my mouth is so dry. And we still have so much to talk about. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll do the bonus levels as well. I think I said that earlier, because I could see us going for a long time tonight. This is a neat puzzle, having to, you know, use the height you gain from wrapping up the Waddle Dees. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. The final piece of hardware they announced is the Steam Frame. So the previous Steam VR headset was the HTC Vibe. Not kind of like the Alienware Steam Machine, not officially made by Valve, that was a partnership, but it had Valve seal of approval. You know, if you were going to play Half-Life Alyx, that was the best thing to play it on, and not the fucking Oculus. I hate that stupid Batman game is Oculus exclusive. I think that Batman game looks decent. I've heard good things about it, but the fact that it's only on Oculus means I will never play it. Which sucks. But so this is their next-gen VR headset. It can play both VR and non-VR games. So kind of like how the Apple Vision Pro was like, oh, it's like a PC you can wear on your face. This is kind of trying to do something similar. Admittedly, here's the thing. I think the Apple Vision Pro is a neat idea that isn't there yet. In 10 years, it's gonna be a good product. But we're still like 10 years away from that. Because I know Samsung is doing their like XR headset or whatever the fuck it was called. And this is, you know, Valve's take on, it's a VR headset for gaming, but it can do everything else these headsets can do as well. I think one day this technology is going to be great. I just kind of like VR itself. I don't think we're there yet, but I think the Apple Vision Pro style of VR will be there sooner than, you know, VR, you know, like we're going to hit that before we hit Sword Art Online, is what I'm saying. But this is supposed to be a lightweight, comfortable VR headset. They want it quick wake up, quick resume, easily jump in and get going. It uses camera tracking, so, you know, you don't have to worry about that. They showed off the Steam Frame controllers. They've got all the necessary buttons. They've got motion controls. They use capacitive tracking, so that way, you know, you could use like each individual finger. Because the only VR I've ever used is the PS and PS2, or PSVR 2, which I think are both fine. The one thing I like about this that, you know, the PlayStation fucked up on, in my opinion, is that you don't need a Steam machine or a PC to play this. Sure, you can. They comes with a wireless adapter that you can put into your PC. It uses a Wi-Fi 6 connection to stream games from your PC to the headset. But you don't need that. It can be a PC on its own. The Apple Vision Pro, the Meta Quest, they all work like that. It's just the PSVR 2 that is like a $500 thing that you also need a $500 console to play. That sucks. What so much potential with PSVR that was just completely squandered. Both times they did it. Honestly, it was squandered so much the first time, I'm amazed they did it a second time. I don't expect a third. But hey, you can use it on PC now. Like, if I ever play Half-Life Alyx, it's probably going to be using a PSVR 2. They talked about how they've got a new technology that, like, helps optimize gaming. That while you're playing VR, it uses eye tracking. So that way, the specific area you're looking at will look better. Like, the graphics will focus on that area to make it look better, to make it run better. Which, I'm kind of surprised they haven't already done. I wonder if it's like one of those things where it's like, it sounds better than it'll look. But I think it's a good idea overall. Like I said, this thing is a standalone PC. It runs SteamOS, but, you know, people will mod it and get whatever done with it. There's this element of like, hey, this is like, hey, you want to like sit down and watch a movie, but you don't have like a big TV. Yeah, kind of like the Apple Vision Pro, you can just turn this thing into like a big TV in front of your face. Which, see, here's the thing. I, in theory, like that idea. Being able to use like an Apple Vision Pro or the Steam Frame or the Oculus as like, instead of having like a big PC, you can make it look like you're in like a stadium or a movie theater. It's a cool idea, but it's also inherently very lonely. Like, at least with a TV, you know, you could have multiple people around the TV hanging out. But with something like this, no, there's just something kind of sad about only having like one person on a time on your Steam Frame. Yeah. It also uses SD cards to expand its storage. We don't know how much storage is on it by default, but it'll be there. And yeah, that's the Steam Frame. Definitely, it's one of those things like if you're interested in buying a VR headset, whether to play Half-Life Alyx or any potential new thing Valve is going to announce, this is the best thing you could buy. Over a Meta Quest, over whatever other VR systems exist, this is the best one you can buy. I think that's a very solid argument. I still don't think VR technology is all the way there, but Half-Life Alyx is the best VR game that exists right now. And it's optimized on the Steam Frame. So all this stuff comes out early next year. They're gonna, you know, they'll probably start doing pre-orders soonish. And yeah, they say they're gonna ship it early next year. We do not have a price for any of this. And honestly, I couldn't even begin to guess a price. For the controller, I would say a safe bet is probably somewhere between like 60 and 90. I would lean closer to whatever a DualSense costs right now. How much does just a standard DualSense? Not an Edge, what's just a standard? I can get a DualSense from PlayStation's website for $75. So I could see it going, because I know like the Switch 2 Pro controller is like 90 after like I want to say it was originally 80, and because of tariffs it went up to 90. So, you know, tariffs might affect this as well, but I would guess it's going to be somewhere between that 75 and 90, because this thing has a lot of bells and whistles in it. So I think that makes sense. For the Steam frame, I have no idea. I legitimately could not give you a good guesstimate on that. I'm not even going to try with that one. And for the Steam machine, Paris Lily put his predictions on Twitter. So I just want to read you his, because I think these are probably the best ones. Is that he thinks that the standard Steam machine, there'll be two models. A base model with 512 gigabytes for $600. That puts it around the same price as the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which, hey, if you're trying to hit that same, like, audience, you know, it's going to have similar power specs. And this is a 5-year newer console. I think 600 makes sense. Feels a little low on gigs. Like, I know the PS5, I think by default has, you know, a terabyte, even if it's not actually a terabyte. But I could see that. And then his prediction is that the second model will be 2 terabytes. So they're jumping over 1 terabyte and just going straight to 2. And that'll be $750. So, you know, basically another extra $150 for a terabyte and a half. Which, honestly, that's not too bad. I don't remember what Steam Decks cost. I want to say the OLED with either 500 it's probably 256. I want to say an OLED Steam Deck with 256 gigs is like $500-600. So yeah, it's going to be about that. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than that. But I think that makes sense. I think that is a logical price point. I agree with his predictions. Of course, you know, it could be completely off base. It is, you know, everything is so fucking expensive nowadays that anything is possible. But I could see these numbers as totally possible. And of course, you know, the second this thing was revealed, a lot of people were like, oh, is this the Xbox killer? Is this the PlayStation killer? I mean, if you can use this Steam machine with all your PC games, plus it has all the Xbox games, it has basically all your PlayStation games at least a year out. Does this kill PC gaming? And I want to make something clear. This is a niche product. The Steam Deck is a niche product. For as much as people love the Steam Deck, the Nintendo Switch outsold the Steam Deck. The Nintendo Switch 2, the console that everybody hates right now, sold more units in a week than the Steam Deck sold in like 4 years. The Steam Deck is a niche product for as much as it is loved. I think the Steam machine hits a wider audience than the Steam Deck, weirdly enough, but I still don't think that it's going to be the biggest thing in the world. This is not a console killer. I think this is just another stop in the market. This is just the next step, but this is in no way a console killer. Not at all. Oh my gosh. No, the console market's gonna be fine. I mean, Xbox has its own problems to worry about. You know, they've got all their own issues with their own games. They don't need Steam to come in and kill them. And PlayStation and Nintendo are basically untouchable. And of course, the final question, the one that everybody cares about. Are we getting Half-Life 3 finally? You know, with a new Steam console, add in a VR mode for Half-Life 3, that would be huge. That would be, like, yes, anybody with a PC would be able to play Half-Life 3. It'd be on Steam regardless. But having Half-Life 3 launch day and date with your new thing will get a lot of people to buy your new thing who don't have a good enough PC. Like, for people who already have a good enough PC, they don't need that. You're going to get their money regardless. But for people who do have that, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. So saying like, hey, this device will play Half-Life 3 and it'll run, because that is the promise of a console, is that, hey, You know, PC has more customization. It has more of a upper end. But there's a promise of stability on PC. Or on console. That no matter, you know, as long as you're buying a console, the game will most likely work. Whereas with PC, if you don't have a good enough PC, there are some games that just straight up won't work. That's the promise of a console. And potentially Valve could make that promise here with this. And, you know, that would give developers like a baseline to strive for. Even though, again, it's PC gaming. People will do whatever the fuck they want. Like, that doesn't change any at the end of the day. I think we've got one more level after this. Because we do have our next thing. But yeah, no, I'd love to say, maybe, I don't know, there was a lot of talk last year about Valve was building up to this big announcement, and it was, I want to say it was a game. It might have been this, but I don't think it was. And it was a game, and there was a lot of talk about maybe it was going to be at the Game Awards. So maybe that's this year. It's a possibility that it happens at the Game Awards. You know, a stage. This is the biggest Game Awards ever. I want to say they're streaming on Amazon Prime this year. Like, it's gonna be a big thing. So there's that potential. Yeah, this is the boss. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. I've only ever played the original Half-Life. I'm just gonna admit that. I've never played Half-Life 2. I played both the Portal games. I played some of the stuff on the Orange Box. Which I think Half-Life 2 was on the Orange Box. I don't think I ever played Half-Life on the Orange Box. I just played Portal. I played TF2. I didn't really play Half-Life. At least, I've never beaten Half-Life, I guess I should say. I know I've definitely started it. Half-Life 2. I've played the original Half-Life. Alright. We're going to do this Meta Knight boss fight. I'm going to go get some more water. And we'll talk about Pokopia and the Game Awards. I think. It's been a while, but I want to say this is... Because this is World 7, right? I think this is World 7. Or maybe this is... maybe this is... Is this World 6? Because I know our last world is Dream World. And yeah, we still got plenty to talk about. Maybe we'll... I know I was talking about doing the extra levels. Maybe we'll do the extra levels first and then do all the final levels. Or maybe do we do the finals levels first, beat the game, and then go do the extra levels? I don't know. I do like this game. I would love a second Kirby's Epic Yarn. I know they're the developer Good Smile, right? You know, they did Princess Peach Showtime, they did Yoshi's Woolly World, and Yoshi's Craft. Yoshi's Woolly World is great. If you've never played Yoshi's Woolly World, it is a great game on the Wii U. I never played the 3DS version, I couldn't tell you about that one. But it was good on the Wii U. I would love for it to get a Switch port. But I still love this game, and I would love to see some more of it. You know, that's not just extra Epic Yarn, which, gah, I've heard was not a good port. Oh, you know what I don't have in the show notes? Pikmin. Let's talk about Pikmin real quick. So Pikmin got the update came out, and the big thing with the Pikmin update is that it added a hard mode, which I guess the hard mode is actually like hard. Like I saw a clip of somebody who was doing the new difficulty, and their like yellow Pikmin ran into fire and died in like 2 seconds. It was like electricity in Pikmin 2, which was crazy. That's crazy. But that's cool. And I guess they added a setting where you could turn off auto lock on, fantastic. However, the monkey's paw curls its finger. It now makes it so that when you turn off auto locking, the moment you start tapping A to throw Pikmin, the game freezes up. And, like, or not, the game doesn't freeze up, but, like, your mouse will freeze and stop moving, so that way you can keep throwing in the same spot. So, like, in the first 3 Pikmin games, once you start throwing, you can move your cursor around and, like, throw in, like, a wide area. Whereas in this new one, nope. The second you start throwing, it locks your controller in place. And that's a bad update. Let me turn that off as well. It's a half step. Half of it was a good idea, but the other half was a complete fuck up. And that sucks. That genuinely sucks. That they started doing something good by getting rid of auto aim, and then just fucked it up.
Forgive me, I blame the yarn. Meta Knight explained to Kirby.
So yeah, but other than that, I think, you know, I guess the new decor Pikmin are immortal. Like, they die, but then they just return to the onion. I know they made some other changes. I know the new difficulty mode only lets 60 Pikmin. I don't know if enemies respawn. I don't think they do, because that's one of the weird things about Pikmin 4 is that enemies don't respawn, but they did in the previous 3 games. I guess potentially they probably don't in this update. I don't know. I might check it out soon in the future. I've been busy with other things right now, but maybe sometime in the future. I don't know. Next week I was planning on starting Galaxy 2. Like, that was my goal for next time, is we were going to start Galaxy 2. No, actually, we were going to do Kirby Air Riders next week. And then we're going to do Galaxy 2. Do the green stars. Yeah. Hey, it's Wispy. I love that tree. Yeah, Dreamland. Alright, let's head back to Quilty Square for a minute. Let's go to our little house. And we'll... Actually... Yeah, okay, let's hit that. And we'll be back in a minute. Oh shit, did that kill... Me switching over to be right back killed the stream. Fuck. What the fuck just happened there? Why did the stream just die? Stream, are you okay? Did that... Here's my PC. Did that kill you? Did that kill you? Back in the room. For a second there, the stream just, like, absolutely cratered. I have no idea what happened. Alright, I'm gonna go get some water, probably pee and whatnot, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna do the bonus levels, and we'll do the final world. I think that makes sense. I think we've got enough time. I've got enough to talk about. I mean, the goal was to beat Kirby tonight. I think regardless, we're going to be able to do it. So, if I remember these bonus... See, and I think the bonus levels will go quick. Because in every world, one of the bonus levels is always based around an ability. And those usually go quicker. Doesn't mean we'll have to do a train level. Whatever. Alright, so let's talk about Pokopia. So, Pokopia, if you don't remember... This was the new Pokemon game that personally reminds me a lot of Dragon Quest Builders. I've seen people compare it to like Minecraft and Animal Crossing, but I think it looks a lot like Dragon Quest Builders. I could also see the comparison to like Dinkum, which is, you know, an Australian survival game that, what I've seen of it doesn't look bad. I think it's on Switch 2 now, maybe OG Switch as well. But the whole premise is, you know, the idea of a farming game. Because what I've always wanted for years was Stardew Valley with Pokemon. Where instead of getting like sprinklers to water your crops, you're getting water Pokemon to do it. Instead of getting... What's it called? Instead of getting... I don't know, instead of getting like something like auto harvest your crops, you're getting grass Pokemon to do it, or to like auto plant. Basically, I want something like Stardew Valley and Factorio. I guess Autonauts is probably the best comparison. I want Autonauts, but with Pokemon. And in some ways, that's kind of looks like what we're getting. So I'm excited for that. But it's just, it's got a weird art style, and the fact that your character is like a Ditto, who like learns the Pokemon's moves, it's just very weird. I don't think it's bad, it's just weird. But to be fair, I like weird in games. And the Pokemon Company, as of the past few years, have been playing things very safe, and very boring, and I kind of fucking hate it. You know, I hate that every Pokemon game nowadays is just a fucking gacha mobile game. That sucks. I'm actually kind of excited that we're getting a genuine Pokemon spin-off for the first time in years that doesn't have microtransactions. And admittedly, I don't know if the Blue Rescue Team, the Switch remake counts on that one. Like, I guess it technically does. But before that, what was the last Pokemon spin-off? Because it's been a long time. I don't know, I guess I could look it up. Come on, Sarah B, have a list. Okay, Bulbapedia, let's see if you have a list. I would have loved one in chronological order. That would have been great. I guess Pokken Tournament was the last one. Yeah, Pokken Tournament was probably the last Pokemon spin-off game. That was like an actual game and not just a mobile gacha game. That fucking sucks. Because you get down to the end here, it's like Pokemon Go, Magikarp Jump, Pokemon Quest, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Smile, Cafe Remix, Unite, Friends, and then, of course, Pokopia. Most of those are all just fucking mobile gacha game bullshit. Yeah, that sucks. And I don't even think that has... Admittedly, I don't remember... What's Pokemon Friends? Oh, yeah, Pokemon Friends is that bullshit, like... Fucking, you know those games, you want them? Well, here you go. What's the one on Masters? Masters isn't even in there, but that one sucks as well. So, Pokopia, okay, so we got our new trailer. Hey, we're, you know, a Ditto, we're on an abandoned island. Long ago, this island used to be filled with Pokemon and people. But over the years, it's fallen to ruin. So it's up to you, a Ditto who can turn into a human, to fix things. You meet Professor Tangrowth. There are elements of this trailer that I do find charming. Specifically, like mystery dungeons, the Pokemon are able to speak. So we see like Professor Tangrowth talking. There's obviously not going to be voice acting, even though this trailer, you know, has like Pokemon interpretation. I wish there was voice acting. There's not going to be. But, you know, Pokemon are talking in this. That's mystery dungeon shit. I like that stuff. But yeah, Professor Tangrowth, it's a Tangrowth, but like the top half of its head is white, and it's got like a stethoscope, like the metal of one. I think that's neat. It's got glasses. I like them bringing in some new like variety Pokemon. That's fun. We'll talk about all the other ones near the end. But yeah, your goal is to help Professor Tangrowth fix the land. Also, another detail I like about Professor Tangrowth is that, right, all Pokemon, at least until relatively recently, were named after trees. Right? Professor Oak, Birch, Juniper, Sada's not, though. Right, up, like I said, up until recently. Because Sada and Toro aren't. But most professors are named after trees. I like that the Pokemon professor, who is a Pokemon, is just a grass-type Pokemon. That's funny. Shit. So I like that idea. That's good. You're going out, you're creating habitats, meeting new Pokemon. So like you see like, oh, they water the grass and that gets Squirtle to appear. You plant more grass, you know, you can use Bulbasaur to plant more grass. And it talks about how like depending on the habitat you create, different Pokemon will show up. So like the character sets up a punching bag, and hey, that gets a Hitmonchan to show up. So, you know, Pokemon will be attracted to different things. That's cute. And then, of course, you get moves. You learn moves from Pokemon, and they'll do different things around the land. They can be used to refresh the land, clear paths, till the field, plant vegetables, you know, all that shit. All the stuff you would do in farming games, you have to get a Pokemon to help you learn it. But then once you get the Pokemon to help you learn it, the Pokemon will then help you out. They talked about how you can transform into some Pokemon, that instead of just like gaining their abilities, you fully become them. So you see Lapras, that allows you to, you know, swim on water. You see Dragonite, which lets you fly around. That's cool. That's fun. And it also tells us there's going to be more than one island. That you're not just stuck on the same island. Because we don't know if there's like any level of like random generation to this, or if it's just the same island every time. But I like the idea that, you know, every island somebody generates is a little bit different. So your island's going to be unique from mine. Like, sure, some quests, there will always be like some quests where it's like Pokemon wants to get to certain spots and whatnot. And even if it is random, I doubt it's actually that. I bet there are just like a dozen layouts or so. But I like the idea of being able to go to other islands. You can craft things. There's, you know, a crafting table. This is the Animal Crossing part of it. You know, you go around, you collect wood, you collect materials. And then, again, like, and I know other games have had crafting like this, but this is clearly influenced by Animal Crossing. That you can make furniture, you can make toys, street lights, roads. You can make everything you want to customize your island. And you also use that to, of course, attract new Pokemon and just make your island more comfortable for Pokemon to live on. There are side quests. You know, it seems like there's a main quest, which is helping Professor Tangrowth clean up the island. But then there are also, like, side quests that Pokemon can give you. So, like, there's one that they use where it's like Squirtle wants you to clear a path, so that way it can go visit the lake. There's another one where it's like, oh, this Onix is trapped in a cave. Help destroy the rocks to free it. You know, just simple little quests like that. And of course, you're going to have the big quest, which is like rebuilding the Pokemon Center. Probably like traveling to new islands. Doing all that like main quest stuff. That there's, you know, there's going to be a story, obviously. Colorful characters to meet along the way. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll be able to work alongside Pokemon. So, like, they show that, like, oh, the character and, like, the starters are at the beach. And while at the beach, the Charmander lights the campfire. You have the Squirtle waters the plants. The Bulbasaur makes the plants grow faster. You can set up street lights, and the Pichu turns on the street lights by giving them electricity. That's cute. I like that there's like this certain element of like, oh, well, you know, if Pokemon were real, we'd use electric Pokemon to like help power plants. So of course on your little island, you can get electric Pokemon to like help turn on the lights and everything. That's cute. Of course, they also talk about how, like, once you get, like, more Pokemon, they can work together to build a house, build a statue, build a fountain. You know, the public works projects from Animal Crossing that just, like, make the island better. It seems like there are 2 types of houses. Like, you can go out and, like, build a house using, like, the bricks you can, like, craft. But then there's also just, like, built-in houses that you can, like, go inside and customize. Like liminal spaces. Not liminal spaces, but you know, there are the houses that like if you were to build a house in Minecraft house, and then there are the houses that work like Animal Crossing, where it's like a whole different world. So it's interesting that you can do both, and we see both being built in the trailers. There are a bunch of ways to play they talked about. There's a photo mode. It's a Nintendo game in 2025. Of course it has a photo mode. Everything fucking has a photo mode. Player customization is a thing. So while yes, you are stuck as a weird Ditto with a weird Ditto face, you do also, you know, you can customize your character. You can change your hairstyle, your gender, your you know the gender you wear clothing of and hairstyles of. And then you can also change your skin tone as well. So there seems to be some level of customization there. Decorate rooms, both inside and outside of houses, obviously. You can play with friends. So it's got 4-player co-op. And unlike Animal Crossing, you seem to actually be able to, like, do stuff, you know, more like Minecraft, where you can do stuff with your friends. Unlike Animal Crossing, where you're extremely limited to what you can do when your friends are over. Kinda sucks. It's an Animal Crossing problem. They show some activities, like they show like, hey, you working with the Bulbasaur is using its vines as like a jump rope. See how many jump ropes you can do with your friends. That's cute. You know, it's stuff that I wish was in Animal Crossing. Because stuff like little side quests like that should totally be in Animal Crossing. And it's weird that they aren't. And then they did confirm that Game Share is going to be in this. So, you know, this is a Switch 2 game, but if you're on, you know, you can Game Share with a friend on Nintendo Switch. So that's a thing. Your goal, like the main story, is all about you creating a flourishing world where people and Pokemon can live together. I do wonder what that means in like are there going to be people in this game? Like, we know there are talking Pokemon that give you side quests. As your island grows, will, like, different types of trainers show up? And you can, like, help them with, like, their side quests? Because I would... You know how... Okay, if you ever played a Harvest Moon game, usually there's a married couple in Harvest Moon where you have to, like, get 2 people together, and then you're, like, the best man at their wedding, or the bridesmaids, or whatever. Like, that's a plot in, like, some of the earlier Harvest Moons. I think it's just not a thing in Stardew Valley. Like, there's no quest in Stardew Valley to get, like, 2 people to date each other. But it was a thing in Harvest Moon. I could see that being in this Pokemon game, but what if instead of you trying to hook up 2 people or 2 Pokemon, what if you're trying to hook up a Pokemon with their trainer? Okay, now, let me put that better. You're not trying to hook them up, but you're trying to help a trainer pick their perfect first Pokemon partner, who they will go on grand adventures with. You know, basically, you're the professor helping somebody else get their starter. That sounds like a fun idea. I would love for that to be a side quest in this game, if there are in fact humans in this game, which I'm not going to rule out. They talked about special Pokemon, how, you know, because every once in a while Pokemon has, like, a special Pokemon. The prime examples are like Shadow Mewtwo, Shadow Lugia. Third example here that I can't think of. The weird Primal Deoxys from Explorers of Sky, Darkness, and Time that never showed up again and is literally just Deoxys but orange. It was really cool at the time, trust me. Like, Shadow Lugia is still awesome. I don't really care for Shadow Mewtwo, but I think Shadow Lugia is cool. But, so we're going to have some special Pokemon in this. We have Professor Tangrowth. There's Smear Guru, who is a Smeargle, but he's, like, very much an artist. He's, like, covered in paint. He's a guru, so he's going to be some sort of guide. You have Pikachu, who is, like, a Pikachu, but they've been drained of their color. So they're all, like, grayscale. Okay, it's like, what if Pikachu was, like, a ghost type? And I'm not just talking Mimikyu. Even though I did see somebody take that Joe Biden comic and make it Mimikyu stealing Pikachu's color. And that was funny. But no, it's Pikachu. I think it's cute, actually. And then there's Mosslax, which is a Snorlax that has been sleeping for so long that it has been overgrown with moss. And there's probably going to be other ones, but I like that we're getting some, you know, more interesting, unique characters along the way. That sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, everything I've seen so far from this game, I do like. I do think that is interesting. I'm interested in all of this. I know some people don't like it, and for some of the reasons I'm about to talk about, but I think the idea here is very solid. It's like the idea of like a Pokemon life sim farming game is just a good idea. It's kind of like Pokemon MMORPG, Pokemon World of Warcraft. It's just a good idea, but it all depends on the execution, and famously Pokemon doesn't exactly have good execution. They fuck it up more times than they don't. Not always. They used to not fuck it up, but in recent years, oh yeah, they fucked it up. So we got the release date. Technically, we got it early. So this whole Pokemon like trailer was actually the second bit of news. Before that, we got the first piece of news, which part of that was the release date. The release date is March 5th, which does make me question, when is Tomodachi Life coming out? Because I'm not going to say Tomodachi Life and Pokopia have the same market, but they definitely don't. There is definitely some overlap there. And we know, we know Animal Crossing is the January game, the new 3.0 update. We know Mario Tennis Fever is the February game, and Pokopia is the March game. So that means Tomodachi Life at the earliest could be April. Yeah, it's probably going to be May, if not June. I think it's still first half of the year, because who knows what's going on with Rhythm Heaven as well. Yeah, of course you can pre-order the game right now. If you pre-order it, you get a Ditto rug. Who cares? And then it's also, I did not know the game is co-developed with Koei Tecmo. So Koei Tecmo is also working on this one, like that's their development partner. Okay, you know, it's good to know that you got someone who at least knows a little bit about what they're doing. Because I don't know if the Pokemon Company does. Let me look up something. Is there like, what specific development team made you? Okay, that was just Squeenix. Okay. See, here's the train level I was worried about. Okay, so that's the first bit of, you know, the first thing people, you know, there's reasons people are worried about it. But the big thing that got everyone upset, and like rightfully so, I totally agree with all the complaints here, is that even though Pokopia is a first-party Nintendo game, it is a game key card. And that sucks. I do not think game key cards are the worst thing in the world. I at least will give Nintendo credit, they're at least a little bit transparent compared to other developers who have no transparency whatsoever and have been doing this practice for a while now. But, yeah, I'd rather have a physical game that's on the cartridge than a game key card. And it kind of felt like, you know, Nintendo had put out multiple reports saying that game key cards are not selling as well as on cartridge games. Like Cyberpunk is doing way better than like some of those other games, you know, like Bravely Default, which besides for just market differences, that was a game key card. And so I was kind of hoping, you know, there wasn't like a promise. Like Nintendo didn't specifically come out and promise that every first-party game was going to be on a game key card. That was going to be a cartridge. Like, but it was kind of assumed that there were going to be no first-party game key cards. But nope, Pokopia is a video game key card. So for people who do not like video game key cards, I guess this is one to avoid buying digitally, or physically. Honestly, that is kind of making me think, like, do I want to, because with a few exceptions, like Mario Kart World, I mostly still buy physical games. I'm very much a physical gamer. I like having my physical games. But since this is on a game key card, owning a game key card or not doesn't really matter. It's the same fucking thing at the end of the day. Would I just rather have this game digitally? And I think the answer might be yes. Because I'm picking, like, I know for some people, the fact that this is on a game key card is an instant deal breaker. That means they're never going to buy this game. I don't want to say that's a reductive way of looking at things, but it definitely is very limiting in scope. Like, if that's your belief, then just never, like, have you ever bought a game on Steam? Like, ever? Because you don't own any of those either. But no, I'm still very interested in this. It's just a question of like, yeah, am I going to do this? Because the other thing is having even if it's a game key card, you can still share a game key card. Like I could give it to somebody else and they could play it. And so I might do that. I don't know. Realistically, I will probably just buy this one digitally. Just being realistic here. Yeah, sure. I like having physical games, but I mean, if this is what Nintendo, you know, like other companies are removing the disk drive from their system to force you to buy digital games. If Nintendo's plan is just to make everything a game key card, well, that might work as well. It might. But yeah, so originally this got revealed earlier in the week when Nintendo put out a video, presumably in preparation for the holiday season, that was like, hey, here's how to use a game key card. I would say it's condescending, but it's just like a Pokemon tutorial. And yeah, they put out this video about how to use a game key card. And the game key card they used as an example was Pokopia. So I'm wondering if they kind of even though the game comes out in March, and it's perfectly reasonable for us to be getting this information. But I wonder if part of it is like, hey, you know, we want to put out this video before the holiday comes out. And the only game key card we have that's first party is Pokopia. So let's just do that reveal now. But yeah, this is obviously the thing people are upset about, and I don't blame them. I'm not as upset as others, but I get it. And yeah, overall, I think Pokopia looks very interesting. I think this has a bunch of potential. If the game reviews like shit, though, I kind of won't be surprised. But I hope it's good. I want it to be good. I feel like there's such a good idea here. It's just, will the execution live up to it? And that could go any which way. So are all these levels just ability levels? Because I feel like everyone we've done up till this point has been an ability level. So this is our first, like, make it or break it one. But it looks like this one's based on the lantern gimmick, which we haven't... Which, to be fair, we haven't used this gimmick yet, so... At least I don't remember us using it before. Alright, let's talk about the Game Awards. So, the Game Awards were this week. Alright, the Game Awards... Okay. Ugh. Earlier this week, Jeff Keighley announced that the Game Award nominees will be revealed first thing next week, with the actual Game Awards being a little less than a month away. I want to say the Game Awards are March 11th. That sounds right in my head. So we're getting the nominees. And even though, okay, we're going to give my predictions for what I think is going to be nominated, including Game of the Year. We'll do that one last. But I want to make something very clear right off the bat. The Game Awards don't matter. Just because your game that you like does or doesn't win an award, it doesn't matter. Sure, it can be fun when a game you like wins an award. But at the end of the day, none of this shit matters. Don't take it serious, don't be a dickhead, and don't tell people to kill themselves. It shouldn't be that hard, but trust me, it is for some people. So yes, I'm going to give my prediction. Your favorite blurbo probably won't be on some of my predictions or is going to be shortlisted. And I'm just going to tell you that's the way the cookie crumbles. Make your own predictions. None of this matters. So I'm gonna save Game of the Year for last. That's the big one. I want to just go through some other categories, get some other thoughts out of the way first, and we'll talk about the last one. I want to be clear, I play less games than, most people do. Like, this year for me has been a lot of playing classic Mario and Kirby games. If it was in fact obvious by the fact that we're playing fucking Epic Yarn, I've been playing through a lot of the old Mario games. I've been playing through a lot of old Kirby games. That's just kind of how this year has been for me. But, I've played some new things, so we'll talk about it. First thing I want to say is sports and racing. I want to talk about this one first, because the Game Awards cutoff is coming up. And I want to say the actual cutoff for the Game Awards is usually like mid-November. So, what about Kirby Air Riders? Because Kirby Air Riders comes out next week. Do people have review codes for that yet? Is that in people's hands? Is that going to get any nominations? Or did it come out too late in the year and it's going to get nothing? Because I legitimately think Best Racing Game could be a very interesting category this year, because it's Mario Kart World versus Sonic Cross Worlds versus Kirby Air Riders versus two sports games nobody gives a shit about. It's going to be a big battle between three racing games. Or, because Kirby Air Riders came out too late, kind of like Smash Bros. Did. Smash Bros. Came out like the day of the Game Awards back in like 2018. And it couldn't get nominated that year because it came out too late, so it got nominated the following year. So is that going to happen for Kirby Air Riders? Has it come out too late that it's not going to be nominated this year and it'll be next year? Because I think there's no way I see it not getting a nomination. Like, yes, I know the original Kirby Air Riders is a cult classic, but I still think it's going to get a nomination. It's just a question of, did it release in time, or is this going to be a next year thing? Will it even be in the public consciousness enough next year to get a thing? Because Smash Bros. Was, but this game's not going to have DLC or anything like that. I would not be surprised if it at all gets forgotten by the time next year's Game Awards happens. At least by, like, the large, popular audience. You know what I mean. But yeah, I think sports and racing has potential competition. I'm not going to predict a winner. I think Mario Kart, personally. But, it's going to... Mario versus Sonic going head-to-head for the first time in a while. That's a fun race. Again, these awards don't matter. You gotta make your fun where you can. And the idea of Mario versus Sonic again, that sounds like fun to me. Best multiplayer game. I know the big recent one is Arc Raiders, but also another game that released too late last year, Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals released too late last year, but it's been getting big pushes all year. They just revealed Rogue and Gambit. They will probably reveal the next character at the Game Awards itself. I think that's got a good chance. Monster Hunter Wilds has... Wild, I mean. I know some people are mad at that game, especially on PC, but that game was still popular. And then Night Rain came out this year. I feel like outside of the DLC that was reviewed... Oh, fuck. You know what I realized I didn't put on here? State of Play Japan. They did a State of Play this week that was Japan only. I didn't watch it, but I listened to Kinda Funny talk about it. I completely forgot to put it on the bracket this year. Admittedly, I didn't have much to say on it. Hey, Tokon Fighters looks cool still. I played the closed beta. It was fun. I'm excited for the next closed beta. Not good at it, like, at all. But hey, it's cool that it exists. And then we did get Night Rain DLC. So I'm excited to see what comes from that. And then, yeah, is Night Rain still relevant enough to be on this list, or was it just not popular enough? And then the final one is Split Fiction. Does Split Fiction qualify for Best Multiplayer? I don't know. You know what it does qualify for, though? Best Family Game, aka Best Nintendo Game. Because Best Nintendo Game / Best Family Game has only been lost by Nintendo twice. Last year with Astrobot, and then back in, 21? With It Takes Two. So while I definitely think Donkey Kong Bonanza is taking Best Family Game. Like, I don't even really question that. Split Fiction actually could totally be it. The other possibility is Mario Kart World. I could totally see Mario Kart World taking it. Because, again, family game. But I think Bonanza's the good bet. Like, if I, as a betting man, I'd say Bonanza. I don't know any non-Nintendo game that would be Best Nintendo Game. But, you know, there's always usually at least one that gets nominated. Best Independent Game? Holy shit. There are so many good indie games this year that it's kind of hard to pick one, but the two frontrunners are Hades and Silksong. One of those two is going to win it. Currently, Hades 2 is the highest rated game of the year, not counting Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, so those don't count, because, you know, re-release. But outside of that, Hades 2 is the highest rated game of the year. I could see that taking an easy win for independent game, but also Silksong could also totally take it. Because, you know, Silksong's Hades 2 has been in early access for like a year now. Silksong just came out. So those are the two obvious ones. But Blueprints is also there. Big, you know, that was big early in the year. Goodnight Universe. I want to say their previous game, Behind Closed Eyes or Closed Eye, whatever the developer's previous game was, also was nominated for like Best Independent that year, or Best Indie, or whatever. What's the one? Best, not Innovation and Accessibility. Best Game for Action or something like that. I know that one of those games was nominated for it. I could see that happening again this year. But I think people are positive enough on Goodnight Universe. And then the big question, are they counting Expedition 33 as an indie game? Because Expedition 33 is an indie game, basically. I mean, yeah, it was people who worked at Ubisoft, but they left to form an independent studio. Expedition 33 is an indie game. Is it going to get nominated for Best Indie Game? Potentially. Admittedly, I don't see it in, like, I think of Silksong and Hades as more traditional indie games, but I could easily see it taking, you know, it being there and it taking it. Same thing with Best Debut Indie. I mean, for Debut Indie, it's what, Blueprints in Expedition 33? And yeah, if it's Expedition 33, I think that one's going to win it. The other one I was thinking about is Dispatch. That new game Dispatch with, you know, Aaron Paul. That's an indie game, right? Ad Hoc Studio, is that? They did Dispatch, and I guess they did The Wolf Among Us 2. Which, did that release last year? Oh no, Wolf Among Us 2 hasn't come out yet, so no. I think it's a game called Cart Life. I don't know if... Kind of like how Best Debut Album in the Grammys isn't actually like debut, or Best New Artist isn't usually an actual new artist. I think Dispatch counts as like Best Debut Indie. So I would... And again, it's people who used to work at a bigger studio hitting it out on their own. I think Dispatch kind of counts. So I could see that being nominated in both categories. But yeah, that's that. Besides for Game of the Year, Best Indie Game is going to be the other race to really watch. Because depending on who wins that, that might tell you who's going to win Game of the Year, potentially. Innovation and accessibility. In the past, I've called this the Sony Award, because this award was specifically created to give it to The Last of Us 2. But it's gone to a few other good studios over the year. Did Prince of Persia win it last year? Let me see if I can find it real quick. I want to say Prince of Persia won it last year. Let me see. Innovation and accessibility. Yeah, Prince of Persia won it last year. Totally deserved it. Prince of Persia 100% deserved that win. Because they did some really interesting stuff. It is... I wouldn't say it's innovative exactly. But this is... Kirby Air Ride, if that, again, is qualified for a nomination, is Nintendo's first game to have accessibility. I mean, yes, technically, like, Mario and Metroid had stuff, but I'd barely qualify that as accessibility. So, I don't think Kirby Air Riders could win it, obviously, because I don't think they're doing enough. But... I usually Ghost of Yotei is a good bet, and then probably Assassin's Creed Shadow, because despite all of Ubisoft's problems, when it comes to accessibility, Ubisoft is pretty good at it. Games for Impact is the one I was thinking of. That's what the title's called. Where is... Oh, Forza won. Forza won it 2 years ago? Really? And then who won it in 22? Innovation and accessibility. Went to God of War. Again, it was created for The Last of Us. They gave it to God of War the next year. Xbox won it once, and then... Yeah, Prince of Persia won it the next time. I don't know. There's probably some other good innovation going on somewheres in accessibility. But it's always, it's an award I do like, so I'm curious to see what goes up this year. Best ongoing, Marvel Rivals. Easily. That's, out of all these games, that's the one I've heard talked about the most. Possibility of, Night Rain's getting a big DLC next month. But I think they've gotten some support. I don't know about Arc Raiders. That's too new. And I just, outside of like Fortnite, I can't think of a game that has done as much as Marvel Rivals has this year. So I think Marvel Rivals is a very safe pick on that one. Best score in music. So the Grammys recently did their nominations for music. And Star Wars Outlaws got a nomination. But Expedition 33 didn't, which is kind of like the one big oversight. From what I've heard, Expedition 33 has some of the best music of the year. Like, yeah, sure, Star Wars has Star Wars music, but I've heard Expedition 33's music is amazing. I've talked about it before. I love the Game Awards Orchestra. They do a fantastic job every year. And yeah, the idea of getting some Expedition 33 in there sounds fantastic. So I think that's a big one. But another one, an underdog who I don't think is going to win over Expedition 33, but who I'd love to get nominated, Mario Kart World. I know Mario Kart World is mostly remixes of older tracks, but it's some really good remixes. Like, Mario Kart World has some fantastic music. I don't expect it to win, but I would love to see it get nominated at least. And then the other one is, of course, Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2 is an obvious win. I would love to see from what the one who does the woman who does the song for the main theme, you know, all again kind of funny related. I would love to see them do a performance at the Game Awards. Kind of like how we got the Alan Wake performance a year or two ago. Getting a performance from I cannot remember their name for the life of me. But getting a Death Stranding 2 performance would be really cool. There's a prediction that I would love to see. I'd have to look them up. And then Best Narrative, Expedition 33. There is a total potential that Expedition 33 sweeps a bunch this year. Like, I think, let me put it like this. No matter what, Expedition 33 is walking away with something. Kind of like last year, where it was like, hey, all the major games walked away with at least something, except for... Actually, no, I think everything walked away with at least one thing. Or, like, the year before, where it's like everything but, like, Spider-Man walked away with something. I think it's the same thing, right? Everything, I think, will walk away with at least something. Or, you know, potentially Silksong and Hades 2 cannibalize each other, and one gets the win, the other doesn't. That's also totally possible. But yeah, Best Narrative, Expedition 33, Ghost of Yote. I've heard Death Stranding 2's narrative makes more sense than the first one, allegedly. So if Kojima pulled it off, then I could see him getting a nomination. But I didn't play Death Stranding 2, so I wouldn't know. And I guess that leads us to Game of the Year. So when it comes to Game of the Year, there are 4 games that I am 100% locked in. These will be nominated. Now, there can only be 6 games nominated. And as I say every year, they should up the number for Game of the Year to 10. Or I'd honestly be fine if they doubled it to 12. But at a minimum, they need to double. They need to add it to 10. Because, like, that's what the Oscars does that. The Oscars, you know, most categories are 6. But then Movie of the Year is like 10 or 12 movies. The Game Awards needs to do something similar. Because there are just too many good games. And just having 6 leaves so many snubs. Like, with 10, yeah, there would still definitely be some snubs. But there would be less. I said it every year. They need to do more. Just for that one category. I don't think any other category needs more. Just Game of the Year. And it's not even like they need to do more winners. It's just give more games credit. Because there are, you know, these past 3 years have been 3 great years for gaming. And the fact that only 6 things get nominated every year, it just sucks. So my 4 lock-ins, the 4 games I 100% think are nominated for Game of the Year. Expedition 33, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Those are my 4 locks. Expedition 33 is a massive game, a good underdog story from an indie studio that people love. Hades 2 is the sequel to... I don't think it was a Game of the Year winner, but a very highly received game from, 2020 COVID era? It was a massive game. People love Hades, and Hades 2 is also the highest reviewed game of the year, not counting Zelda. Silksong is a sequel to one of the biggest indie games of all time. I would argue Silksong is the most hyped game of all time. Like, out of everything we've talked about, Silksong had the most hype into it, and it actually lived up to that hype. And then finally, usually most years a Nintendo game gets nominated. Donkey Kong Bonanza was the big one. Not that Mario Kart was in a much worse year. I could see both Mario and Donkey Kong being nominated. But Mario Kart, while good, was not as good as we wanted it to be. Donkey Kong, though, stood and delivered. I think it's an easy nomination. Because the Game Awards loves nominating a Nintendo game. So what about my other 2? Well, you know who else the Game Awards likes nominating? A Sony game. The only Sony game this year with any real merit is Ghost of Yotei. So I can totally see Ghost of Yotei being our 5th pick. But I don't think that one's guaranteed. And then the other one... Oh, come on. Okay. God, we took a big hit. The other one is Death Stranding 2. The Game Awards also loves Hideo Kojima. One of the most famous moments in the Game Awards was, you know, Hideo Kojima coming back. And, you know, the original call-out of Konami. I could easily see Death Stranding 2 taking the nomination. Again, in a much worse year for gaming, not only would Death Stranding 2 take the nomination, it would probably easily win. This was just such a stacked year that I don't even know if that one's guaranteed. But those are my other two. I do, however, have some other games that could... Because those last 2 slots, I think there are tons of potential things. Another thing the Game Awards loves? Yosa Ferris, developer of A Way Out, It Takes Two, Split Fiction. Split Fiction came out in March. In a much worse year, Split Fiction would be a shoo-in to win. It Takes Two won Game of the Year in 2020. I would normally think Split Fiction would be a lock. But it's just been such a good year, I don't even think it's getting nominated. But I would have guessed it would have, but I don't think it's going to happen. The recent game that everyone's been talking about, Dispatch, people really like that. It's reviewing pretty well. Potentially, you know, I think it's totally possible that it gets nominated. Recency bias is definitely a thing, which is another reason why I don't think it's going to be Split Fiction. Another big game people loved, Blueprints. Blueprints was the first big indie game of the year. And while it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, it did review very well. I want to say it's still in, like, the top 20 on OpenCritic. I don't know, let me just see the top 20 on OpenCritic. So, the top 20 are Hades 2, Expedition 33, The Seance of Blake Manor, which is... How many people have reviewed this game? 13. Okay, that explains why it's so high. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hollow Knight, Split Fiction, Trails in the Sky, Dispatch. Blueprints is number 10. Both Blueprints, Dispatch, and Split Fiction all are above Death Stranding 2. That doesn't mean anything, because to be fair, Black Myth Wukong got nominated last year, and that was at, like, number 30 highest ranked. So I don't think that means anything. Oh, fuck. I forgot Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 were this year. That could also totally be nominated. That's number 14. Or maybe not for Game of the Year, but Best Indie Game, definitely. I could see Deltarune. Maybe Best Fan Vote. Even though that's usually always just a fucking Honkai Star Rail mobile game bullshit. Another game that I do think could be nominated for Game of the Year, even though I bet the least money on this one. Like, I picked Blueprints, Death Stranding, Dispatch, and Split Fiction all before this one. It's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. From people who have played that game, I know a lot of them will say it's one of the best games of the year, that it is a revolutionary game in many ways. But I just don't think it has the market share that some of these other ones do. That's the reason they will take it. As they're just more in the collective audience, whereas Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a little bit more niche. That's why I'd root against that one. But it's totally possible. It also didn't help that Kingdom Come came out in, like, February. I think it literally is the earliest game on this list. I don't think Monster Hunter Worlds has a chance. I don't know, it's possible. Arc Raiders is at 20. I guess Arc Raiders fans are the crybabies this year. Every year at the Game Awards, there's at least one game that has a bunch of crybaby fans that are mad that they didn't win. You know, like in 2023, it was Spider-Man. Spider-Man fans threw temper tantrums over Spider-Man not winning. Last year was Black Myth Wukong. They threw a bunch of temper tantrums that their game didn't win. And this year it kind of looks like it's going to be Arc Raiders fans. So yeah, so those are the predictions. I think they're all very solid predictions. There's a bunch of categories I obviously skipped over. Just some I just don't care about, or that, you know, I don't really have any good ideas for. Like, best fighting game? What would that... What fighting game even released this year? Like, I'm sure one did. Like, next year it's going to be Tokon, probably. But, like, if you asked me to name a fighting game, I couldn't tell you. Same thing with, like, racing last year. Like, I couldn't have told you a single racing game that released last year. Because sometimes that's just how it goes. You know, the Game Awards needs an option of, like, hey, you know, there weren't enough nominees in this category, so we're not going to have this category. Sometimes, because the Oscars has that. The Oscars has a clause that if there aren't enough good nominees, they just won't give an award. Same thing with Sim and Strategy. Like, what Sim and Strategy came out this year? I mean, I know Paradox Interactive has a new game, Europa 5, I think, but, like, that's not gonna get nominated. It's a Paradox Interactive game. No, only nerds play those, like me. Was Planet Coaster 2 this year? As far as I know, people are still mad at, No, Planet Coaster 2 was November of last year. People are still mad at City Skylines 2, as far as I know, so that one's not getting nominated either. Yeah, no, I can't... I know there's, like, this one, like, Sims-like game that comes out soon that people are excited for, but that means nothing to me. So yeah, next week we'll obviously be back and we'll talk about the nominees. We'll probably just usually I do my predictions like the week before. Maybe we'll just do them next week. I'll just remember to do them next week. Yeah, I think that might just be easier. I like that it's a satellite orbiting the moon. That's cute. We're almost done with all these bonus levels. I knew they wouldn't take that long. This is going to be another firefighter one. I see the flame. It could be a UFO one. But I want to say we already did a space UFO one. I'm going to guess firefighter. Oh, mech! Oh, shit. We haven't had a mech level in a while. I like the mech. I think it's cool. Alright, let's get to WIBE, shall we? So, what have I been enjoying? Oh, we got a bunch of things, actually, kind of. We've got, we got two food things, both of them drink-related, one of which is this Trolli Mountain Dew that I'm going to open here in a second, and then the other one is, Jack in the Box has a new shake, which I want to talk about, because, sure, why not? And then we've got video game, we got Kirby Air Riders, which had its global test last week, even though the next global test starts in, like, half an hour. It might have already started, actually. Hey, Nintendo Today, let me see. Did the next global test fire start? No. I know it starts soon. Starts at 1 a.m. Okay, never mind. So there's one from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. Mountain Time. That's the one I'm in. 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then on the 16th, there's one from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I played in 2 of those test fires. Same times last week, and I played in 2 of them last week. I played in those latter 2. And they were cool. I had fun with both those global test fires. Yeah, so we'll talk about that. Hollow Knight Silksong. I finally beat Hollow Knight Silksong, so we're going to talk about spoilers. We've got, the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I did rewatch earlier this week after the trailer for the new one came out. We'll quickly go over that one. We got two more episodes of Hazbin Hotel, episodes 5 and 6. Yeah, it's Hazbin Hotel. Not holy shit, but like, oh yeah, this is a show. And then we have the Rapunzel's Tangled Adventures. Last week we talked Season 1. This week we're talking Season 2. And then the final thing, depending on time, of course, is we were reading those meant-to-be novels. I finished the 5th one, which was the Mulan one called Worth Fighting For. I finished that one, yesterday? So I do want to talk about that. Potentially. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Alright, so let's start with this Mountain Dew. So, earlier in the year, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but Trolli and Mountain Dew teamed up to release a Mountain Dew soda that was flavored like Trolli gummy worms. And then gummy worms that were flavored like Mountain Dew. And like a week or two ago, I found them. And I've just kind of been holding off on them. But I have it here finally. I don't have the gummy worms, I just have the soda. It is a zero sugar soda, which I did not actually remember that. But it is cherry lemon flavored. It's in a bottle, it's in a 20-ounce bottle. And yeah, it's bright red, it's got the yellow-red gummy worm on it, it's red colored. And yeah, I guess let's just open it. I've had this thing sitting in my fridge for, like 2 weeks. Because I found it right, like, the day before Halloween. And then, it was Halloween. I had so much sugar. Last week I went and got a Sonic soda, so I had a bunch of sugar then. And I was like, nah, I don't need the extra sugar. But this week I intentionally was like, nope, I'm not doing anything today. So that way I can try this. Even though this is zero sugar. To be fair, I didn't remember that. And also, yeah. Yeah, I do kind of taste it. I kind of taste the Trolli gummy worm. I do definitely taste like the zero sugar, though. Zero sugar has its, like, I don't want to say acquired taste, but it's got its specific flavor. And I do kind of get that from this. It's not bad, though. As someone who likes Trolli gummy worms, specifically the sour ones. I like the sour, the lemon limes, the blue raspberry ones, and whatever the green and orange ones are. As someone who likes those, yeah, this is not bad. Not bad at all. The other one I have while I'm talking about it is, it's Holiday Cream Coca-Cola. Holiday Creamy Vanilla. I don't think it's supposed to be like a dirty soda, because if you know, the big trend this past like year or so have been dirty sodas, which is like taking a soda and putting like a coffee creamer, maybe some coconut, maybe some lime in it. It's a Utah thing, because Mormons can't drink coffee, so their vice is soda, and so they've gotten like crazy with soda, including putting coffee stuff in soda. And I like a good, dirty soda can be good. I've had some good Dr. Peppers. But they can also kind of suck depending on how you do it. And I guess, like, next year we're going to get a lot of dirty soda. Where, like, they're doing a bottle of a dirty soda Mountain Dew, which has, like, a cream flavor. And so, I think this is kind of Coke trying to... That's the creamy part of the vanilla. But if I'm being honest, if you've ever had vanilla Coke before... Because I don't, like, the only time I can think of having vanilla Coke is at, like, those Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. Like, most places I know just sell cherry Coke or cherry vanilla. I can't really think of just vanilla. But no, as just a vanilla Coke, it is fine. I have, for sure, had Coke flavors that are way worse. Like, this is fine. If you like vanilla Coke, you will probably like this. If you think you might like vanilla Coke, you will probably like this. So yeah, that's that one. The other thing I had earlier in the week was I went to Jack in the Box. Oh shit, Krako's in this game? I completely forgot Krako was in this game. To be fair, Krako's in basically every Kirby game, so that makes sense. I did not remember this at all. That's cool. I like Krako. I hate Krako. I hate fighting Krako, but I like Krako's design. I like the idea behind the fight. I just hate fighting it. So, the other big one, so Jack in the Box has a new, it's called a Midnight Snack Shake. This very much feels like this should have been their Halloween shake. Like Sonic does a Trick or Treat Blizzard, which is just a Sonic Blizzard, but it's got like Heath bars, Reese's peanut butter cups, Oreos, and M&Ms. It's just a bunch of different candies thrown together. This is basically that same idea. It's just a bunch of little snack foods thrown together in a shake. It's got M&Ms, pretzel pieces, mini marshmallows, and graham crackers. Just a bunch of slop thrown together into like a vanilla shake. And if I'm gonna be honest, I actually really liked it. Yeah, it's a vanilla shake, but I like, you know, I like a chocolate M&M. Or like, I mean a chocolate pretzel. Not a chocolate. M&M's are already chocolate. I like the idea of a chocolate pretzel. So doing a chocolate pretzel, like the pretzel pieces aren't overwhelming. I think they're perfectly fine in it. The mini marshmallows, they're kind of like, if you've ever gotten like one of those hot chocolate mixes that have the marshmallows built in, it's the same idea. So I like that. And then we have graham crackers. It's mostly like graham cracker shavings on top. But no, genuinely, I think it's a pretty good shake. If you're not a fan of Jack in the Box, this ain't gonna change your mind. But I've had much worse. If you like the idea of those ingredients, you know, like, oh, that potentially might be good. I thought it was good. I could totally see myself getting another one of these. Yeah, it was not bad at all. I would recommend it. But I'm a little biased towards Jack in the Box, even if I hate them nowadays. Okay, it's a love-hate relationship. I guess I'd say I'm frenemies with Jack in the Box. Let's put it like that. Yeah, I know they had other new stuff. Like, they brought back, like, spicy mozzarella sticks. I remember the last time I had the spicy mozzarella sticks, I remember not liking them. Or maybe I'm thinking of Burger King. I honestly can't remember. But either way, I was like, I don't need spicy mozzarella sticks. I'm good. So I just got the shake. And I got a burger. Which, it's a burger. You know, it's a Jack in the Box burger. You get exactly what you pay for them. Actually, you get a little less than that, because I think they're way too expensive. Alright, let's talk about Kirby Air Riders. So Kirby Air Riders did their online global test fire demo thing. And it had, you know, you can go in, you can do like a general tutorial, which if you've never played Kirby Air Riders, because you can go get this demo right now. You do not have to pre-order the game, you just need Nintendo Switch Online. Which, hey, guess what? It's, what, like $2 a month or whatever? Or you can get like a 7-day free trial. I would definitely, if you have not gotten that 7-day trial, which it refreshes like every once in a while. Like every like year or two, you can go in and get the free trial again. I definitely recommend checking this game out on the Global Test Fire tomorrow, because they're doing another one. But no, Kirby Air Riders, I definitely do the demo. I just did the, you know, even though I played the original a bunch, back like a decade ago. Yeah, let's say a decade, that's probably the safer option. I was like, yeah, I'll do the refresher courses, kind of learn, you know, some of the new stuff. There's not much, honestly. And then I tried out the races. They did not do online racing. All the racing was offline, which I do think is kind of weird. Like, I'm surprised they don't also want to test that. Like, I get it. Everyone's playing the game for city trials. I understand that. That's the one you definitely have to test. But I'm kind of surprised you didn't also want to test the racing as well. But I played there's 3 online tracks. The Flora Fields, the waterfall one, or the water one where you're like parting the Red Sea, and then I want to say the Maple Treeway one was the 3rd one. Yeah, they're all fine tracks. I want to say I like the water one the most, because that one's got a big cannon at the end, and yeah, you know, they were fine. It's all like you're going up against like level 3 CPUs, so it's nothing special. But it's cool that it's there. And then the big event was City Trials. I played probably like 4 hours of City Trials across the 2 days. And I had a good time. It took what you liked about City Trials and just gave you more. If you like City Trial, statistically, you haven't played the original Kirby Air Riders. But if you have and you like City Trials, this is just more of that. It feels a lot more balanced than before. Like, they made the bulk star good. Like, the bulk star might be the best star in the game right now, which is... No, it's definitely the battle chariot, but it's high up there. Bulk star and Rick is a pretty good combo. But yeah, no, I do like the battle chariot and the normal chariot. I actually do like those. I played some Magolor, I played some Starman, I played Kirby, I played Rick. Did I play Rick? I don't remember. I played Gooey. I just played a bunch of different characters, you know. Had my fun with it. I did actually record it. If we finish early, which I don't think we will. But if we do, we'll go check out some of that footage. I'll put some of that up after we beat the game. But no, I had fun. You know, you got to see some of the events. Krakow showed up. Dynablade showed up. One event I did not get, but I saw in Failboat's stream, was the UFO. And my, like, 4 hours, the UFO never came up. But it went in on his. I don't think the Dragoon was in the demo, so I didn't get a chance to see that, or the Hydra. I did the race. There's a race, like, event that can happen. I did that. There's a battle tournament. I did that one. I got to try out some of the new modes, or the new, like, stadiums at the end. I tried out the laser one. Every time I got the laser one, I had, like, a chariot, or, not the Nova Star. I don't know. I had like a ground weapon, which, you know, you can still totally do it on a ground weapon. I played some high jump. I got my ass kicked at target practice at least once. I think I did a big battle. I don't know if I did a dust up derby or anything like that, but I know I did a big battle at least once. The only mode I don't think I because there's only so many modes available. Like, not all of them are there. At least I don't think they are. The only one I don't think I tried was the rail one. There's one that's like rail grinding to the finish line. I don't think I did that one. I did the race. They have the robot DDD is one of the... You can fight the robot DDD boss fight. It's a lot of fun. The robot DDD is a very fun boss fight. It's totally a transformer. And it's great. It's a lot of fun to fight against. So I had a good time with that. And yeah, it's Kirby Air. It's exactly what I wanted to. So early on in the year, I said we were gonna play a lot of Mario Kart World. That once Mario Kart World came out, we were the background game footage was just gonna be me playing Mario Kart. Like, that was the plan when, around the time the Switch 2 launched. But once I actually played Mario Kart World, I was kind of like, I don't know how much I actually want to play Mario Kart World. Like, it's a good game, but it's not a great one. Okay, maybe it's a great game, but it's not an amazing one. Like Mario Kart 8, which I put, hundreds of hours into. I don't even know if I've put, like, past 50 into Mario Kart World. It just didn't hit with me the same as, like, other games did. As, previous Mario Karts. And so, what I played so far of Kirby Air Riders seems very promising. Like, that's gonna hit. I'm gonna get a lot more out of that. Which is a good thing. I'm hopeful for that. I would love to have because I've put so much time into Splatoon, and I kind of feel like I'm at a point where it's like, I was looking back on last year's stream. We played Splatoon for season, 5. We played Splatoon every episode except for like 6 of the 52 episodes. Yeah, like 46 of them. Ugh, my math is bad. were Splatoon. We did a lot of Splatoon last year. And I was expecting Mario Kart to be like this year. Like, once Mario Kart came out, I was like, yeah, you know, that was episode like 20-something. Every episode after 20 was going to be Mario Kart. And then it was like 2 episodes, and that was it. And I don't know, Kirby Air Riders, anything is possible. Like, maybe I'll put a bunch of time into it. Maybe it'll just be like Smash Bros, where I get big into it for like a month, and then I kind of, you know, only come back to it every once in a while. But I'm hopeful. I had a good time with this demo. The game comes out in less than 7 days, so you better believe I'm here for that when that comes out. But that's still a few days away. Next up, let's talk Silksong. For Silksong, full spoilers ahead. This is endgame spoilers. It's not the most important spoilers in the world, but just know, spoilers ahead for Silksong. So, when we actually played Silksong on stream last time, we were at the boss fight against Lace. Ooh. I did not realize at the time that the next thing we did was fight the final boss. After we beat Lace on stream last time, I did not play Silksong for another like 3 weeks. And then when I booted the game up again, the first thing I did was like, okay, you know, I go a few rooms over. Oh, wait, that's the final boss. The entire time I was fighting the final boss, I had no idea it was the final boss. It took me like 2 hours to beat. And it was only after I beat it, then, you know, you play this cutscene, and then the credits rolled. And I was like, wait, that's it? That's where the game ends? I'm not going to say it's a bad ending. I'm not even going to say it left like a bitter taste in my mouth or anything, because it's obviously not the true ending. Like, there's this whole... between some of these boss fights, there's these whole scenes with this, like, lady with, like, she's like a spider with, like, a big round head. No, that was not the final boss I fought. So clearly, I just fought some boss. She was called the Grandmother Silk. Not Grandmother Silk. Grandmother Silk. And it's like, okay, this is just a boss fight. This is not the final boss, like the real final boss. This is, and it's funny because there's an element of like at least fighting the Hollow Knight, there's like all this build up to fighting him. Whereas this is just kind of like, oh, I guess I'm here. I guess this is what I was working towards the whole time. Like this one, it feels a little bit more anticlimactic, but it's supposed to be. Because it's not the real final boss. Instead, the real final boss, the big lady with the big head, who I presume is the final boss. Yeah, no, that's a whole other thing that I have no idea how to do. Like, at least, like, when I was playing the original Hollow Knight, it was like, okay, well, I fought Hornet here, I did this thing. Like, obviously, we're building up towards the secret final boss. And then I got stuck because I didn't have enough Dream Essence. Like, that was my big hindrance the first time I played Hollow Knight. And this one, I have no idea what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Like, I know I still have to fight the lady who sells you the maps. I never did that. I know that's something I have to do. I think I have to fight the other drill head. There's the kid with the bell who I never got to resolve on their quest. There's the guy who rides the bug that I never got the ending on their quest. There's a lot of side quests that I started that I never finished. Like, I don't know. I put, 40 hours into the game? Something like that. It's definitely less than that. I enjoyed my time with the game. I think it's a great game. It's just clear that there's still more I have to do. And it's a question of, am I going to go back and do it? I got an ending. There are so many more games to play this year. I bought Hades the day it came out, Hades 2. The day it came out. I haven't even touched it. Because I told myself I'm not going to start Hades 2 until I beat Silksong. I've now beaten Silksong. I got an ending. Do I finally play Hades 2 now? And I don't know. I don't have a good answer if I'm being honest. Like, I probably should. But there is a non-zero chance I make it to the end of the year without having played Hades 2. I don't want that to be real. But I'm not ruling that out, sadly, just because it is such a good year in gaming. Because here's the thing. We've got 6 weeks before the end of the year. That is 6 weeks to play Hades 2. We got to do that in that time. But I do also want to play Expedition 33 before the end of the year. I bought a copy of it. I want to play it before the end of the year. Will I also do that? Because I've also got Kirby Air Riders next week. I've got Metroid first week of December. Which, okay, to be fair, I do not know if I'm buying Metroid, because I told myself that before I played the new Metroid, I had to replay Metroid. I had to play Metroid Prime Remastered. Not replay, just play Metroid Prime Remastered. And I have not done that. So unless I bunker down, play Metroid Prime Remastered, and then play 4, I'm not picking up 4. So maybe 4 will go by the wayside. Maybe I'll get to Hades. Maybe I'll get to Expedition, and maybe I'll just completely bypass Metroid. I don't know. Something's even though there are a lot of games and a lot of people have more free time than I do, and sometimes I feel like I have more free time than I'd like to admit. But I watch YouTube videos. I listen to audiobooks. I do shit. I'm currently reading Tom King's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow after putting that off for like a year. Which, by the way, I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I'll talk about it once I finish it, maybe. But I'm like 3 issues in. It's okay so far. I'm enjoying it. I definitely see how it's the influence on the new movie. But yeah, there's just so much to do, so little time. And of that little time, I do definitely squander some of it. But hey, I like Multiplayer Monday. Okay, what can I say? I find Multiplayer Monday fun. And eventually my scrap mechanic map is going to be finished. And hopefully they'll play it on Multiplayer Monday. A man can dream. A man can dream. I actually... All jokes aside, I do want to make a Multiplayer Monday map. Like, I've had some ideas where I'm like, oh, that would be a fun map. Oh, I should do that. I should make that hide and seek map. But I've never done it before, so I don't know. It's a time thing. Yeah, like after playing Luigi's Mansion last week, I was like, I don't think they've ever done Luigi's Mansion. That'd be a fun one to do. I don't know. Me, actually. Okay, that's still a ways away. Okay, never mind. And I say all that. I've played more games this year than I did last year. Last year, I only played like 30-something games. This year, I'm already over 40. To be fair, a lot of that comes from me playing old Mario and Kirby games. Like, I replayed, well, except for Odyssey. And, no, actually, except for 3D World. 3D World's the one I didn't play. Except for 3D World and 3D Land, which I'm thinking I'm gonna play. Except for those two, I have replayed every 3D Mario. I've replayed a bunch of the 2D Marios this year. Just not the NES ones. So yeah, Kirby's been keeping... I played Kirby 64 for the first time this year. Kirby's Epic Yarn for the first time in like a decade. I've been working on some of these things. But there's still so much to do. And, my priorities are awful. Alright, let's talk about the Mario movie real quick. It's not very long. It's like 90 minutes. So I rewatched after we got the trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I was like, oh, I kind of want to rewatch the Mario movie. So I kind of had it on in the background. I watched it a little bit. And it's still fun. Is it a good movie? kind of. It's not a masterpiece. It's very formulaic. It's very by the book. It is literally the hero's journey verbatim. But it's fun. I like the characters. Chris Pratt is fine. I think Charlie Day is a good Luigi. Jack Black is a great Bowser. Seth Rogen, I don't mind as Donkey Kong. Like, he's not, like, at least Jack Black, when he's doing Bowser, he's doing a voice. Seth Rogen's just Seth Rogen. But I don't mind Seth Rogen as Seth Rogen. He's just kind of one of those voice actors, where it's like, okay, you know, you get what you paid for. I don't mind him as Donkey Kong. It is weird seeing him in comparison to, like, Bonanza, where, like, personality-wise, they're, like, exact opposites. For the most part. But it was fun. Donkey Kong, that was fun. The only voice actor I actually... You know, okay. Another voice actor I do like, Kamek. Whoever voices Kamek, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, does not get enough credit. I think they're actually really good in that movie. They totally sell it. The only voice actor I actually don't like is Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. That's the one that takes me out. Chris Pratt, perfectly fine. Anya Taylor-Joy, works. But Cranky Kong, it doesn't sound cranky enough. We're gonna have to fight Krakow again. We might, I actually don't remember. Because that's normally where you fight Krakow, I think. But no, I liked the Mario movie. It was fun, it was formulaic, it's got some good set pieces, you know? I love the Mario Kart shit. The training montage. Yes, oh, I know. Oh, they used all this licensed music. They used, like, Holding Out for a Hero, Take on Me, Mr. Blue Sky. And, like, yeah, I get it. But honestly, there's also a lot of Mario music in there. There's a lot of sound. They use all the sound effects. They use all the music. Like, I think the big redeeming moments for me are the Donkey Kong, the DK rap, and the fact that they use the Invincibility, like a remix of the Invincibility song. Because I guess originally they were going to use, like, Mr. Blue Sky or something. And then Nintendo, like, talked them out of it and were like, no, use the Invincibility music. And that was definitely the right choice. Like, Nintendo has a firm grip on Illumination. And, like, because if this was just a pure Illumination movie, there'd be, like, none of that. But no, it's all, like, it'd be all licensed music, but it's not. Nintendo gets their music in there, and it works. I love some of the music. I love the references. It very much, you know, I talk about how, like, oh yeah, Chris Pratt probably doesn't care about Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy probably doesn't care. But the directors at least care a little bit. Like, Chris Meledandri probably doesn't. He's just happy the movie makes billions of dollars. But the directors care, at least somewhat. But no, I had fun with the Mario movie. It's always just a good time to enjoy it. It's not very complicated, but I didn't need it to be. I do expect more from the sequel. I expect them to elevate it a little bit. I'd love for them to elevate it a lot, but they at least have to... Yep, here he is, Krakow. Ah, look at Krakow. But yeah. I'm just... Yeah, I wanted to do it. It's not long. I had a good time. We're getting our ass kicked by Krakow here. Again, Krakow sucks to fight. Alright, next up, let's talk Hazbin Hotel. We got 2 more episodes. So far, I haven't been super positive on this season. Because it's funny, because at the end of the second season, or at the end of the first season, I was like, you know who I want to know more about? Vox. I found Vox to be a very interesting character. And now in the second season, I'm like, oh, I made a terrible mistake. This was my monkey's paw. I wanted more Vox, and I got more of him, and now I fucking hate the guy. Okay, hate's a strong word. I find him very cringy. You know, everything, when people complain about, like, Vivzy pop writing, where, like, every character just says fuck, Vox is the first person I think of. Like, if they were to do, like, Hazbin Hotel Abridged, Vox would just say fuck. That would be it. He'd be like a Hodor, but he would only say fuck. Like that'd be how you do it in a Hazbin Hotel Abridged. Which, speaking of Hazbin Hotel Abridged, they've been making memes of like, I don't think it might be called Hazbin Abridged. It's probably called something else. But it's basically just a series of memes that are one step removed from like a call out post calling Alistair a bitch. And yeah, no, that's exactly it. We haven't seen this transformation once. Huh, that's cool. Yeah, no, Alistair is all bark, no bite. Last week, we talked about how he fought the V's, and then he just kind of surrenders, and then he gets stuck in the cuck chair. In these 2 episodes, he's turning Vox against Velvet and Valentina. And yeah, Alistair is all bark, no bite. He's a little bitch at the end of the day. He talks a big game. But no, Alistair sucks. He seems cool, right? Like he's this radio demon who killed all these overlords. And like, he seems cool. But no, he's a little bitch at the end of the day. At least everything from him, the entire time he's been in the show, he's been a bitch. But yeah, these 2 episodes, the first one, it's all about, Vox declaring war on heaven. They're doing holy war. Vox has, after everything that happened with Charlie, he's finally like, oh, I'm ready. I've beaten Alistair. Now it's time to rally the people. He rallies all the overlords. And then he holds this big conference. And meanwhile, Vaggie gets Lucifer to try to like intimidate Vox. Doesn't work. You get a song, Vox Populi. I actually do like this song. This is probably the best Vox song so far. It starts off with Lucifer, which I've heard other people say that, oh, the Lucifer part of the song is so good, but the Vox part, it's just okay. I feel the exact opposite. I don't really care for the Lucifer part. It's okay, but I like the Vox part. And literally, my only real problem with the Lucifer part is there's a part where he's like, I'm so spooky. Like, oh, they won't even say my name on Earth because I'm so spooky. And it just takes me out of it. It totally just takes me out of it. But other than that, I think the actual Vox part where he's going up and he's the people's voice. He calls out Lucifer and is like, oh yeah, you can't hit me. All you angels use is, intimidation. And then when Sarah and the rest actually show up, he uses it against them. And that's cool imagery. I talk about how cringy and annoying Vox is. Him, turning into, basically giving himself like wings with his big shark. That was actually cool. I do like that. I like him turning it against the angels. The angels show up with gift baskets, which I like the setup for that. That, Serpentius tells Sarah that like, oh, well, it starts with sorry. I like that. I like that moment. But I think the rest of it is just kind of like, it blows up in their faces. Because I mentioned this last week. They had the radio demon on their side. And yet every week, Charlie's just going back to Vox, and it's immediately blowing up in her face. And the same thing is true this time. She tries to get, Sarah, Emily, Lute, and whatever the other one is. Abel? Yeah, it's Abel. She tries to get them to like apologize, and they're like, oh, we're going to give gift baskets. Of course, at no point do they mention Alistair has been, or not Alistair, Serpentius has been redeemed. Like, their big argument is that, yeah, redemption is possible. But, like, for some unknown reason, they're not going to bring in Serpentius. It's dumb. I get it. It's making, they want this big holy war uprising. I get it. But it's a little contrived. The thing I do potentially like is, so when Lucifer goes to, intimidate Vox, he tells Vaggie the reason he can't smite Vox is because as part of his punishment, he cannot hurt any of the sinners. Which I actually really like. I saw someone, I couldn't tell you where it was. Maybe Twitter, maybe Reddit. But they said something along the lines of, Lucifer, it's the whole thing with hell is that it's supposed to be a punishment. But yet, you know, the show set up like, oh, Lucifer is like the king of hell. He's the ruler. Like, at least the Inferno has him like frozen in a block of ice forever, eating people that Dante didn't like. But in this show, it's like, yeah, Lucifer loved humans. He wanted the most out of them. But as part of his punishment, he can only see the worst in them. He's stuck surrounded by the worst of humanity that he has to deal with, and he can't do anything about. Whoever it was explained it better than I did, but I think that makes sense. Lucifer not being able to like kill sinners, because at the end of the day, he is still chained. Heaven is still his, or this is his punishment. He is chained up. I think makes a lot of sense. So I do like that at the end of the day. And so that leads into the next episode. It starts off with Charlie and Vaggie. They get into a big argument because of everything that happened with Lucifer. They go see Carmilla because she's making a weapon for Vox. They try to talk her down, but of course she doesn't back down. And we're going to see, it's like a tank or something. You know, it's the vehicle from the first Spider-Man movie, but, you know, to kill angels. And then after that, Husk leaves. You know, Alistair left, so Husk has no reason to stay. He goes down to the casino that he probably used to own. Like, there's a lot of cat imagery on the casino, so he probably owned that at some point. You get a song, Love in a Bottle, which I think is fine. You know, it's a Keith David song. How bad can you get? And then you get, Angel is dressed up in this one, and they sing a whole, like, bar song about, like, luck. And that one's also, you know, good. I know people ship Angel and Husk, and this season has leaned heavily into it. I have no problem with it. It makes sense. And then after that, it's at the end of the episode, it's revealed that Vox had a spy, and that it was Angel Dust. That Vox mind-controlled Angel to report back to him about things going on in the hotel. So that's how he knew about the Serpentius thing. That's how he knew that Lucifer couldn't kill anybody. And I think the idea of Vox having a spy in the hotel makes sense. And it being Angel Dust, I think also makes sense. I just kind of wish they had set it up more. It kind of comes out of nowheres. And it's a super fucked up, you know. I mean, Angel, like, they literally make a joke in the first episode about how Valentino keeps, you know, he needs to stop beating Angel because it's bad for their brand image. But yeah, I don't hate the twist. I just wish they had foreshadowed it a little bit more. That's the thing. Like, if they had implied that, hey, there's a spy. But no, instead this just comes out of nowheres. Which, hey, at least it coming out of nowheres is better than fucking Dr. Yue and Dune. That's always my example of like, hey, you know, a twist that had great potential that was completely squandered. Dr. Yue and Dune. But where was I going with that? So that's the good twist. I like that. Meanwhile, Charlie and Vaggie, you know, they have their fight, but eventually they make up, and Charlie makes like a whole pillow fort. But then, they're like in the pillow fort together, and the song just kicks in out of nowheres. It's just the most like, oh, you know, they're just talking, and then boom, the song starts. And it's got a lot of energy. I actually don't mind the song. It's a Hazbin Hotel song, right? But this one's going for a little bit more pop. It's got a little bit more energy. It is Stephanie Beatrice, who, to be fair, I do like their voice. But it's just, this one just smashes in like Truck Coon. It just comes out of nowheres. And it's very, like, there's a part of me that feels like, oh, this is like a generic love song. But then they specifically mention how it's like, oh, Princess and Fallen Angel. Because I have listened to all these songs as well on their own. But, Yeah, I don't hate the song. I don't hate any of the songs in this episode. And then, yeah, the episode ends with Vox, you know, he's clearly building up to something. He's got angel dust, and, you know, they're gonna, I don't know, potentially try to kill him, and we'll see how that plays out. But it's these episodes were better, in my opinion. Because I've not been super positive, and I'm still not, like, over the moon. Like, I definitely enjoyed season 1 more, but I thought these ones were a little better. But yeah, Vox is still kind of annoying. Oh, what the... We haven't had... It happens like every hour, and I don't know why. Because this doesn't happen on Switch. This doesn't happen with Xbox or Play... At least not that I've noticed with Xbox or PlayStation. This only happens with the Wii. To be fair, this is the last Wii game we're playing. Yeah, I can put the Wii away today. Or, well, tomorrow, because I'm not doing it tonight. But yeah, so there's 2 more episodes of Hazbin Hotel. I'll be there to check it out, but... Yeah. Alright, let's talk about Tangled. So, the Tangled show... last week we talked about Season 1. Season 2 takes on a different vibe. The first season was all about, hey, you know, they're in Corona, Rapunzel's reunited with her parents, you know, they're gonna deal with the issues of Corona. This one, at the end of the Season 1, they found a thing... that, like, they noticed all the black spikes were pointing in a specific direction. They found this like, rebus that had a moonstone on it. Like, there's, like, the sun drop and the moon drop. And it's like, okay, that's what we're building towards in the next season. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Yeah, let's go. We're doing road trip season. And that's what Season 2 is. Season 1, they're in Corona. Season 2 is road trip season. And having seen, like, the first 2 episodes of Season 3, we're now back in Corona. Yeah, at the very end of the season, a hot air balloon shows up, and or at the very beginning of the next season, and it just whisks them back in a single episode. Because they are, like, at the end of Season 2, they admit that they have been on the road for, like, a full year. Like, them journeying to find the moon drop takes a full year. And then, yeah, in a single episode, they just balloon back. But yeah, so it's the second season, it's Lance. Okay, so it's obviously Rapunzel, Eugene, and Cass. Those are our big 3 main characters. Lance is there. And then Hookfoot comes along randomly. Just, like, he's the random one. And then, of course, Shorty is there. You know, Paul F. Tompkins. And... they're going on this journey, they've got like a caravan, they've got their RV, and they're just traveling from place to place, dealing with their problems. So like the first one is them meeting up with the Baron, and you find out the stallion that Eugene stole was his daughter, and that the daughter is supposed to be married to Eugene. So that's their first problem. You know, they try to inspire the people of the town again, and that has some issues, but they go from place to place. You know, it does the thing where it's like, yeah, they spend most episodes going from place to place, and then every once in a while they'll stop at a location for a while. Like, they get stranded on an island for a few episodes, and they have to deal with, like, these little fire coconut people. There's, Matt, you know, they run into a fortune teller multiple times who has this talking monkey. Or not talking, but it's like a monkey that can tell the future. They bring back the kids. In the first season, there were these kids, Red and Angry, and it was a fun episode, and I was glad to see them again, because they're fun. And, like, they're looking for Angry's parents, and that doesn't work out, obviously. Because they learn the lesson that, oh, your real family is the friends you made along the way. They eventually, though, they get stranded on an island. Hookfoot hooks up with a mermaid, which okay, at a certain point in the show, they meet up with Hookhand. Because obviously, you know, Hookhand became a singer, like a piano player. And so he goes off, and then they meet, and then at a certain point they run into him. And once they run into Hookhand, Hookfoot reveals that, oh, he always wanted to be a dancer, but his brother, the piano player, always made fun of him for dancing, so he gave up on his dream of dancing. So they inspire Hookfoot to start dancing again, and with that, the 2 brothers go out, and Hookfoot just leaves the show. he just completely disappears for the rest of the show. Which, to be fair, he was kind of the least important. Like, Shorty's not important, but he's comedic relief. Hookfoot's just not important. But I do hope he shows up in the 3rd season, if only to bring back his girlfriend. Because he meets, like, this 1950s, like, feminist mermaid, who I kind of do want to see more of. I think that'd be fun. Just give me an episode. Here we are at the boss, wow. But eventually they make their way to the... Because there's this whole background plot about this wizard who wants to destroy the kingdom. And like a long time ago, he tried to destroy the kingdom, but this sorcerer stopped him. But there are people who are trying to bring him back. So they go to this tree that used to be his like base, but now it's just an old decrepit tree. And they find the Withering Song. You know how like there's the healing song in the original, in the movie and whatnot? They find the Withering Song, which kills things. And eventually the tree comes back to life. They have to use the Withering Song to stop it. But Cass doesn't want to do that. She wants to stop it on her own. So they get into a fight. Rapunzel uses the Withering Song, but Cass tries to like stop her. And in the process, Cass gets her like hand... it's not like destroyed, like she can still use it, but it's definitely like injured. So the Withering Song, that's a cool addition to the lore. She still can't use the healing song though. And yeah, it causes some conflict between Rapunzel and Cass. There's a new character, Adira, who I just mentioned, and Cass doesn't like her, but Rapunzel does. So like the thing I knew going into the season was that Cass becomes the villain. So I was kind of like, okay, well, we gotta have these moments where we see Cass slowly becoming the villain. And we get those moments, but I don't think we get enough. There's a pivotal scene that, yes, we do get at the start of season 3, but it's not in season 2, and I feel like it would, like, yes, it would have given away everything a little bit too early, but I feel like the show kind of needed it because it explained a lot more. We'll talk about it in a minute. But during Rapunzel and Cass's fight, they get a memory erasing wand, and they accidentally they get a memory erasing wand, and they accidentally erase Rapunzel's memory of everything prior to the first movie, or everything after the first movie. So basically, you know, at the start of the first movie, she's in her tower with Mother Gothel. So she thinks she's been kidnapped from her tower. She doesn't know that Gothel is dead. And that's a really good episode, because she goes like fully primal, and she gets Eugene and Lance over like a pit of piranha infected things. So that was a fun episode. I really liked that one. And like, yeah, Cass and Rapunzel are better at the end of it, but they're still clearly mad at each other. They spend a few episodes inside like a seashell house. Again, there's an evil wizard, and one of his servants has like a seashell house. There's a mirror dimension. They get turned into kids at one point. I know what I have to do. I have to get up to that door, and I just can't do it. I keep fucking up. It's eventually revealed that the monkey that can see the future is Dermanitus, the great wizard who defeated the evil sorcerer like thousands of years ago. Which I do think is, because I knew he was going to show up at some point. I was waiting for Dermanitus to show up. But him being the monkey, the only problem I have with it is it rules him out of being in the 3rd season. Like, I definitely think he's one of those characters who should... Because at some point, the wizard's going to have to come. Like, there's this evil sorcerer, and he's going to have to escape at some point. And the fact that, you know, Dermanitus is now gone because he's stuck as a monkey forever... Kind of, you know, I would have liked to have seen something there, but it's probably fine at the end of the day. And maybe they don't bring it up again at all. I doubt it, but it's possible. And then at the end of that, you know, right before he turns into like fully a monkey again, he tells them that one of their party will betray them. And I, of course, knew it. Like, I knew it was Cass already. And then I started watching the next episode, and it's revealed that originally I made the prediction at the end of the last season, at the end of season 2, that the Dark Kingdom, the guy in charge of the Dark Kingdom, was Cass's father. That the whole, this guy in charge of the Dark Kingdom is evil, and Cass is gonna betray the rest of the party because, hey, she's an orphan, that's her father. I was wrong, but I was right that he was somebody's father, just not Cass's. He's Eugene's father. As it turns out, Eugene is a prince, and that, yeah, basically after the guy ordered everyone to leave the Dark Kingdom, his kid was one of the things taken from the Dark Kingdom. And hey, there we go, we beat the boss. I think. No, we didn't. We have to fight those sticks, don't we? So I think the twist of, hey, guess what? The guy who rules the Dark Kingdom is Eugene's father, and then he asks Eugene to work with him to destroy the Moonstone, because there's a chance that if Rapunzel tries to do it, it'll kill Rapunzel. And so obviously he betrays Rapunzel in order to do it. I was like, okay, that's a good twist, because Eugene's the one who gets the message that somebody will betray them. It being him, I think, is a fine twist. It just sucks that I knew it was Cass at the end of the day. Because I was like, okay, well, I know it's going to be Cass. So you get this big confrontation at the end of the, there's all these like ghosts attacking them, because people have been guarding this Moonstone for like thousands of years, all of Eugene's ancestors. So right as they're about to like get into, for Rapunzel to touch it, the like ghosts come in and attack. And like Cass is like, do you trust me? And Rapunzel's like, yes, of course I trust you. And then so Cass, Eugene, and Rapunzel make it into the Moonstone. And it's, they're supposed to be their like big reconcile moment. They get in, there's this bridge that forms towards the Moonstone, Rapunzel goes up to touch it, and then Cass comes out of nowheres, grabs it, and then it's like, yep, she's the villain now. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm glad it didn't come out of nowheres. But I wish there had been a little bit more build up, or maybe if they hadn't had that moment where it's like, oh, we've made up, we're friends again, I probably would have felt a little better. Now, at the start of the next season, I've watched the first 2 episodes. They reveal that the whole reason Cass went evil is that she's Gothel's daughter. That Gothel, when she was just a little kid, Gothel went and kidnapped Rapunzel. And then when given the choice between Rapunzel and Cass, she chose Rapunzel. And that's how Cass became an orphan. The Royal Guard, when they raided Gothel's house, not the tower, but her, like, village house, they found Cass there, and then the head of the guard took her in. Which, okay, on one hand, I totally understand where Cass is coming from. She's mad at Rapunzel because, Rapunzel basically took her mom. That her mom chose Rapunzel over her. I totally get that. She's valid for that. That's her biological parent. Having your biological parent not choose you, I totally understand that motivation. But also, at the same time, Rapunzel is... at the same time, Gothel is a terrible parent. She was abusive. She was manipulative. And so Rapunzel having Gothel, if, Rapunzel could make the trade and give Gothel back to Cass, she'd probably do it in a heartbeat because Gothel was a terrible parent. You see in the one flashback, Cass was very clearly being abused by Gothel. And so, yeah, I totally get it. I completely understand where Cass is coming from. But also, she did get out of an abusive relationship. Her adopted father very clearly loves her. And, there's not supposed to be any female guards. And yeah, there is this whole part of feminism that, she's trying to break the glass ceiling. And her father's not always helping. But she gives him multiple missions. He trusts her with the princess's safety. That's going to be an interesting confrontation in season 3. Is her adopted father and how they deal with that. Because that relationship was better. I'm not going to act like it's perfect, but it was definitely better than what she could have had. And I don't know, we're going to see that. There's like a song that's like, oh, this has to stop now. The song's probably called Crossing the Line. And yeah, I still don't think the line has been crossed. Like, they haven't gotten to a point where it's like, oh yeah, no, Cass is beyond redemption. Because the other thing about the whole Gothel reveal is I'm pretty sure in my memory, I knew that Cass was Gothel's daughter. Like, the moment it got revealed, I was like, I feel like I knew this and just forgot. But no, I mean, I'm enjoying it. And then the next season starts. Right, Cass has their big fight. You see in this memory, there's like this ghost girl. I do wonder who that is. Is that like the embodiment of the Moonstone or something? Is that the evil sorcerer that everyone keeps trying to bring back? Because that's how, like, if they don't want to go full super villain on Cass, the way they get out of it is by making that evil wizard the big final bad guy. And then at the last minute, Cass joins back up with Rapunzel. They use their combined powers to defeat him. And then I could pretend, they could pull a fucking Rise of Skywalker. And like, yeah, Cass gets redemption. But because she betrayed Rapunzel that one time, now she has to die. I could see that happening. I don't know. I don't know how the show ends. But I get a feeling that Cass isn't going to get redeemed. But I don't think she's full villain either. But yeah, I guess that's what I'm working on next. Alright, so we did have a book to talk about. Fuck it. I'm gonna show some of my old Kirby Air Ride gameplay that I recorded. I recorded this earlier in the week, just kind of in case I wanted it. So I'm gonna pull that up here in a minute. But we beat Kirby here, and I had fun with Kirby's Epic Yarn. This is a really fun game. Yes, it is baby easy. It's probably a little bit harder to get 100% on it, but it's not the hardest game, but it's fun. I had a lot of fun. There were some good creative levels. I like some of these designs. I'd love a sequel for this. It's very charming. Yoshi's Woolly World is very charming. But yeah, last thing Goodfield did was Princess Peach Showtime, which I still haven't played. But no, I like this. Prince Fluff for Smash Bros. Prince Fluff for Kirby Air Riders. I actually would love that. I think the idea of Prince Fluff being in Kirby Air Riders would be super neat. I mean, they're paying tribute to a bunch of other games and characters. Alright, give me a minute. Let me get over here. Didn't crash that time. And let me just load up. I did record Kirby footage. Okay. I was like, I swear I did. If I hit that. Okay, here we are. Kirby, this is pre-recorded. This was recorded probably during the second test. Yeah, I would guess this was recorded during the second one. I think this is just me playing some some city trial. We'll do this for the next like 20 minutes and then that's it. We're not going to go on much longer. But next week we will probably play more. Either that or we're going to start not Luigi's Mansion 2. We're going to start Mario Galaxy 2. Working on the green stars. Because we played Mario Galaxy earlier in the year. And now with the Switch re-release, I want to do the green stars. So yeah, so this is the Chariot. I do actually like this vehicle. I think the Chariot, and the Battle Chariot's also good. But because of its high damage, it's probably the better vehicle. But I like the normal Chariot as well. So let's talk about this book, shall we? So the book is called Worth Fighting For. It's the 5th book in the Meant to Be series, the Meant to Be series, it's a series of books published by Disney, and they're just retellings of classic Disney stories. So it takes, stories like they did Sleeping Beauty. Or no, they haven't done Sleeping Beauty. They did Beauty and the Beast. They did Cinderella. They did Tangled, which the whole reason I'm watching the Tangled show is because the 4th book was Tangled. And so the 5th book was Mulan. And the Mulan book is all about feminism. It's very much about breaking the glass ceiling, but specifically in the corporate world. It's not her in the military. She works at a finance firm, Mulan. Her dad is in charge of the firm, but he has a heart attack. So now Mulan is in charge of their next big contract, which is a whiskey company. They want to buy out this whiskey company, but the whiskey company is like the man's man whiskey. Like, it's the whiskey for dude bros. And so the idea of a woman owning a whiskey company, obviously all the men hate the idea, except for the one guy. There is no deception. There is a deception in this book, but it's not her, like, trying to pretend to be a man. Like, Mulan doesn't, like, cross-dress. She doesn't pretend to be her father. Okay, that's a lie. She does pretend to be her father, but she pretends that to be the woman version of that her father was a woman. Basically, her father had been emailing the head of the company. But then when the father goes down, they realize, like, oh, the father never mentioned he was a man. So what if you just claim you're your father, Joe? And then maybe they'll just think, oh, Joe was a woman this whole time. And that's basically what they do. And so originally, she goes in for the meeting, mistaken identity and all that. And then eventually it's like, oh, well, you're Joe. And they don't want to sell to her because she's a woman. And then Mushu's in this book, by the way. Most of these books don't do, like, the fun animal sidekicks. Like, the closest we ever got was, like, Mrs. Potts, and the Beauty and the Beast one was, like, the maid. Or Pascal was a cat that showed up in, like, 3 chapters in the Rapunzel one. But no, Mushu is, like, an actual character. She's the cousin. And she has the idea of, like, hey, well, what if you invite us down to your ranch where you make the whiskey, and we prove to you that, Mulan, it can be as manly as all the other dude bros. So with that, they go out to their, like, California ranch. She gets all dressed up in, like, cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. She gets all, manned up. And then they head out. And you get some scenes where it's like, oh, well, she's got to learn to, like, she's, like, feeding the cows or feeding the pigs. And one of the guys, like, spooks the cow, so she falls in a cow patty. Or she's shearing the sheep, and then one of the guys, like, pricks the sheep, and she gets, like, hit, or she gets, like, covered in, like, she has to take, like, 4 showers in one day. Like, things go wrong, things go a little crazy. Like, the one guy, Shin, who's in charge of the company, like, likes her. Shin's mom, who is also, she's a shareholder, but her brothers, who are the ones who run the company, and they don't really listen to her. Those two like her, but nobody else does. She eventually earns the respect of, like, the great uncle, who is the one who founded the company. And, she gets along with some of the other people. There's one guy, James, who is the misogynistic dickbag, and she doesn't get along with him, and he's the twist villain, not really twist, because he's selling the company to try to, like, make a profit off of it. And so, spoiler alert for the whole thing. Near the end, James, like, once they reveal that, like, James had this plan to sell the company and profit, he calls out his parents and are like, my entire life, you've told me I want to work for the whiskey company. Like, the whiskey company is the dream. But that's not my dream. I always wanted to be a writer. And yet you guys don't listen to me. And for a moment, you actually feel kind of sympathetic for the guy. Of course, he's still a dickbag at the end of the day. And a toxic man. Like, if he was writing books... Hey, let's do a DDD fight. Yeah, that's where I started this, didn't I? Yeah. I'm glad this is the fun one. I'm glad I did this one first. Oh god, I'm so out of it. You can tell because for a second there I forgot. What was I saying? Yeah, so like for a moment you feel bad for him, but he's still kind of a dickbag. I do like so once it's eventually, you know, they go through the farm. She gets closer to Sean. And, you know, things are working out. They're getting ready to sell the company. And she's like, okay, before we officially sell, I have to tell Sean the truth. I have to tell him that I'm not actually Joe, I'm Mulan. And so he's gonna, like, she's like, hey, come to the office early. I want to tell you something. Because by this point, they're like dating, they're sleeping together. I've mentioned in the past that outside of the first book in the series, the rest of these books, they do have sex. There just are no sex scenes. Like, this isn't Icebreakers. There are no sex scenes, but sex still definitely happens. Like, Mulan and Sean get freaky in this book. And she finds it very weird that he's calling her Joe, which is her dad's name. That definitely, it off-puts her, but not enough to, like, stop doing it, if you know what I mean. So, eventually, through a series of events, Joe, she's supposed to see him early. But he gets, like, there's, like, an accident on the freeway. Not that he's involved. It's just, they all show up at the same time. Oh, shit, I got first on that. I did not remember that. So, eventually they all get there, and right as she's about to, like, she's, like, trying to buy more time, and that's when her dad walks in. And the entire thing's blown up. Everybody hates her. They're like, oh my god, you lied to us. Sean walks out. They're like, okay, the deal's off. And then she overhears at the bar the, like, rival businessman talking to James, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna sell the company. I'll strip it for parts, and you'll get a payout, and the rest of your family will be screwed over. So she's like, okay, I need somebody to trust me. Sean isn't talking to me. Let's go talk to the mom, Sean's mom. And then they come up with, like, a plan of, like, well, you know, we're gonna sponsor this, like, woman in STEM event. Or women entrepreneurs, and it'll all work out for us. That'll be the big reveal. We'll reveal that James is working against you. You know, we'll have some drinks. We'll shift the company image of, like, you know, we're more we're supporting feminist events. Mushu becomes an event planner. Like, that's, like, because Mushu's, like, there at the, like, nepotism. Because both Mushu and Mulan are, like, at the company for nepotism. You know, they're Nepo babies. But, like, whereas Mulan's like, oh, I want to be better than the Nepo Baby label. Mushu's like, oh, yeah, I own that shit. Mushu's okay. Again, she's a supportive best friend, kind of like the real Mushu in the movies. She can definitely be annoying, but I liked her more than I didn't. And so, yeah, she ends up getting an interest in event planning. And then, yeah, the deal with the company goes through. Turns out Sean, like, while he was freaked out by the whole liar reveal thing, he actually never wanted to break up with her. Like, he recognized that they have a really strong bond, and even if the deal didn't go through, he still liked her a lot. And yeah, in the end, it all kind of works out. They get together, the company's doing a lot better. And yeah, that's kind of where it ends. Anything else I'm leaving out? There's a bunch of other they go hiking out. They go, like, horseback riding and hiking, and things go wrong. I don't really feel like there was, you know, in the Be a Man song, there's this moment where, like, Mulan is failing, and they tell her to go home, and she, like, does something to, like, prove herself. I don't really feel like we got that moment in the movie. Like, yeah, we didn't really get that. I would have liked that at some, like, maybe if it had been like the sheep shearing thing, where it's like, oh no, surprise, surprise, she's actually good at shearing the sheep. And now, like, the closest thing we get to it is when they go to the whiskey distillery. And she knows all the whiskey terms. She knows how to brew it. You know, that's a good moment. But that's, like, the only real kind of scene, unless I'm just forgetting something. Because I started this book, like, like a month ago. Read, like, the first, like, 20 chapters. And then put it down and then didn't touch it until this week where I finished it. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'd say, you know, it's better than the first one. It's better than... Maybe it's just better than the first. I don't know. I'd probably also reread it over the second one. It leans very heavy into its feminist idea, which, to be fair, all these books do. You know, the first one was all about, let's use fat phobia for lack of a better term. The second one was about being a black woman in business and, you know, publishing. The third one had, you know, I mean, the third one was controlling father, but she was Latina. The fourth one was, actually, the fourth one was Colts. But no, this one definitely leaves into the whole feminism aspect of it. That, you know, in order to, you know, being treated fair amongst the finance bros, Mulan kind of had to start acting like a finance bro, and Sean kind of calls her out for him. God, I worry I keep calling him Sean. I worry that his name wasn't actually Sean. I've been thinking that the entire time. Because they do kind of change the names. Except, like, most of the time it's like, oh, her name's not Rapunzel, it's Rafferty. Her name's not Cinderella, it's just Cindy. Belle was Isabel. But this one is just actually Mulan. I do want them to do more of these. Like, I enjoy... You know, I read all 5 of these in, like, 2 months. I would like for them to do more of these. They got but you know, it's a different author each time. This one didn't have a male perspective. Like, we don't get to hear Sean's perspective on things. It's all just told through Mulan's, which I think is fine. But yeah, no, I would the one I want is The Princess and the Frog. I would love to see how they do The Princess and the Frog. Specifically going into the whole, you know, Tiana wants to, you know, start her own restaurant, own her own business. I would love to see them do some of that. I don't know if they're doing... I don't even know when this Mulan one was published. I didn't actually look into it. By the way, I listened to all of these. The audiobooks were all fine. I had no issues with any of the audiobooks. Let's see. Worth Fighting For by Jesse Q. Satanto? Title details. It was released in June of this year. So this one is, yeah, pretty recent. I don't know if... I'm just going to Google it if there's supposed to be more.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, so far there are 5, and I don't see if there's gonna be a new one. Yeah, they're fine books. Yeah. I guess that takes us to... God, we did horrible. That takes us to our outro. We'll be back next week, hopefully with actual gameplay instead of this. Or, you know, if not, we do Galaxy or something else. I don't know, I haven't gotten that far. Oh, I still won. Okay, I tied for first, still. I should not have tied for first. That was not a great performance. I completely forgot about... Again, I'm not live. I just forgot about all that. But I guess let's go back here, shall we? So yeah, we will be back next week. Hopefully with Kirby Air Riders. Maybe something else. You know, maybe we'll do some more online city trials. Maybe I'll do something completely different. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. If we do anything else, it's going to be Galaxy. I said it earlier that the next... I do want to do the Green Stars in Galaxy. Because if I want to finish Galaxy before the end of the year. If we've only got 6 streams left, one of them is Game of the Year, I think maybe we just do Galaxy. We do 4... I would guess 2 worlds per stream. I think there are 8 worlds... That would take, 4 streams. I think we could do that. And then after that, we have one other random stream. And then, yeah, maybe that's Kirby Air Riders, and then that's the end of the year. Which we might... Because usually for Game of the Year, the gameplay I use in the background is one of the games in my Game of the Year list. So... we'll see. We'll see, I guess. Because that's what I did last year with Balatro, and then the year before I did that with Mario Wonder. And it's just kind of become a trend at this point. Yes, it is entirely intentional. I still have like half of the soda left. Oh my gosh. I am so tired. Oh my gosh. Man. And next week, we got Wicked. I'm very excited to see Wicked for good. I've heard, because I love the first one. I'm going to rewatch the first one before next week. I'm going to sit down and do that at some point. But then I'm excited for the second one. But I've also been told that all the problems with Wicked are in the second half of the play. So, hope maybe they fix them. Maybe, having a longer run time, breaking it up into 2 parts, all kind of works out. But yeah, other than that, Zootopia is also coming out soon. Five Nights at Freddy's is sometime in December, which I'm hopeful for that one. Because, again, kind of like the Mario movie with the first FNAF. I like it, but it could definitely be better. And I think the sequel has a chance to make things a lot better. But yeah, I think that's it. We'll be back next week with whatever we're doing. So, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.